Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. My name is Nick Henderson. I am joined tonight by Brad Simons.
That's me, loud and clear.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
This is the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. It's episode 548. Before we jump, we have a lot of stuff to discuss tonight. A lot of video games. We got some God of War.
Yep.
We've got some fucking BattleTech.
Got that Venom trailer.
Detroit Become Human demo. And other things. But before we do that, I want to real quick remind everybody, if you have not yet, we would love to have you in our community Discord. It's a free, great way to keep in contact with all of us, ourselves included, everyone on the couch here, plus all of our community members. You can find it at discord.gg/4player. And if you are so inclined, you could support us on Patreon.
What does the .gg stand for?
I have no idea. Good game?
Oh, yeah,
Discord.goodgame?
But I mean, like, usually .com is like commercial, edu,
yeah,
like...
Get good.
Get
good.
We'll go with that. Discord.getgood.
Goo Girls.
Oh!
No!
Goo Girls?
No, remember German Goo Girls?
Yeah, that's what Brad was going with. Pump my stump.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Why do we always find the worst? Like, we find these kinds of conversations in the weirdest places.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyways, like I was saying... you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/4player. For $1 a month, you can ask us questions on every episode, and you get 24-hour early access to all of our podcasts without ads. So check us out at patreon.com/4player. Anyways, like we were saying before we hit record the first two times, Crispy.
Yeah.
You seem like you want to get some Venom stuff off your chest.
No, it just looks bad.
Oh, okay.
It just looks bad.
It looks bad.
And
there's not much to say.
And the only thing, like, the thing that I mean, it could be a decent movie, but they're going to fucking ruin it because at the end, they're going to do a little teaser for Carnage.
Of course they will.
Because in the trailer, they already showed that they have multiple symbiotes. So, I mean, like, why wouldn't they? Why the fuck wouldn't they? Just jump right into Carnage and try to
I bet
suck that dick.
I bet they're gonna. What's the name of the actor who's playing
Tom
the villain?
Hardy?
No, the villain and he was in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Rick Astley.
Yeah.
Oh God, he was the pilot in Rogue One.
Riz Ahmed.
Brody.
Something like that.
No,
that was his name, and it was
in Rogue One. His name was
Bodhi.
Bodhi.
It wasn't Brody.
So
it was
Bodhi
dumb.
from Rogue One is playing the villain. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he becomes Carnage in this movie. First of all,
why not?
I think the whole thing looks. I think the fact they're even doing this separate of the MCU is totally ridiculous. I know Sony wants to cash in on this, but like everything about this is like the antithesis of what Marvel has done. It's like so ridiculous. Yeah. And not to mention it. Thank you, Deputy Dangle, Riz Ahmed.
I said it about 15 seconds ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I didn't want to thank you.
No one ever does.
The point is, like, the fact that they're making this movie just like completely kills any chance of them ever doing, I think, Venom in the actual MCU. Which,
good.
I know. Good.
I'm with Crispy on that.
I'm not totally
good.
I'm not totally
count it out though.
I'm not. But like, if they were ever to do anything with Venom, you would want it to be in that, wouldn't you? If they were to do it with anything.
Dude,
he just hates Venom.
I know you hate Venom,
like
but he hates Venom and Wolverine and all that.
Yeah.
All the
I don't
characters.
hate
all the edgelords.
I dislike Venom way more than I dislike Wolverine.
Okay,
but you gotta. But I know why you.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It looks bad.
It's just bad.
It looks bad.
It's just.
But is it bad or is it bad because of all the people who like it?
Both.
For me, it's more of it just looks bad though. Like I honestly I don't really care about the movie. The trailer didn't suck me in. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
the trailer did not.
It didn't give me too high. And honestly, it just kind of looked goofy when he was like standing in the apartment and like the Venom stuff started shooting out of him, and he's like, "What's going on,
dude?" The
fucking
sure
one of them came
the
out
motorcycle
of his
shot, right?
Yeah.
The motorcycle shot.
The worst.
What
bad.
the fuck?
It was bad.
Oh my god! Do you remember that first time you saw like the trailer for Spider-Man: Homecoming? You saw like fucking.
Motorcycle.
You saw the new Spider-Man doing his thing, and you're like, oh my
How does the symbiote even know what a motorcycle is?
Yeah, I don't like.
I'm gonna pull you down to the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Why does he even need to?
I have one more question. I say we end this conversation on this question.
Before you ask the question, that's gonna.
Since you hate
inevitably leave.
Venom so much, would you have preferred the movie be bad, or like to a movie that's really good and even more people love Venom?
See, okay, I would always want a movie to be good rather than bad, right? I think it's better if a movie that I'm expecting to be bad is good and it surprises me despite myself than me wanting it to be bad and it end up being bad.
What if
The problem is I think that Venom is a character and you can do whatever with a character, right? Good writers can write good stories out of like pretty much anything. Okay,
Like Logan, right?
right, like Logan. Okay, but the problem is that like the people who like Venom like him a certain way, so that's just the way he's always been. You know, so that's the audience that they're going after. That's what they're going to try to do with Venom the movie. I don't expect it's going to be good. If it is good, great. You know what? That'll be wonderful. I'll go see it.
Do you know where do you know the moment when I realized this was going to be bad?
I'm afraid that it's going to be bad and people are going to like just not care because it's Venom.
That's definitely a valid concern. Do you know when I realized I think this movie's probably going to be terrible before I even saw the full trailer? What the fuck is with that logo they picked for it? It looks terrible.
Oh, everything.
It looks so like
Hold
Power
on.
Rangers the movie. Like it's ridiculous.
I wonder if right before he gets on that motorcycle and that chase scene happens, he's like, "It's time to go mobile."
So it'll be the worst comic book movie. It'll be the
Your
best
bowels would
video
seize.
game movie, right?
Wait, Venom, the video
darkness.
game movie?
Prototype.
book.
It's basically
Oh,
prototype.
No,
Prototype, yeah.
I think like the tone of this trailer makes it look like it has more in common with The Darkness than it does Prototype.
Yeah, a little bit with the fucking little.
Yeah. And it looks like an inherently like
Plus-
dark movie.
Yeah. Plus, The Darkness is like another edgelordy comic book out of the same kind of DNA as Venom.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about that's oh my god. We're not talking about that. Is there anything else we do want to talk about before we get into the video games?
I will say we mentioning Spider-Man. I did watch Spider-Man on Monday. So
I made it up through Doctor Strange.
in the past 4 months, I have now watched every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
I do now own everyone that's out. I haven't caught up totally yet.
But yeah, so I've seen every single one. So I am definitely ready for Avengers.
I officially bought Ant-Man. I still haven't watched it.
Nick, come on, it's so good.
He's gonna be in Avengers.
Probably for like 2 minutes.
Nick.
Oh, Nick.
I'm sorry. No, trust me. I'm going to. But I feel like there are more important movies that I probably should watch that are actually going to do more setup.
But what if
like
you
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
No,
I should
you've
probably
already
watch that.
seen. You don't need. Yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah,
2.
you've seen it.
This
Recently.
isn't a fucking like advanced placement literature exam or something. You don't have to like study for it. You're gonna get what's going on.
I suppose you're right. I suppose you're right.
Nick hates comedy.
Nick
I don't
really
hate-
doesn't.
No, that's what
like
Chai Tai
comedy.
and Chat said.
I do have one problem, and it's just like a personal problem with Ant-Man. At the end of the movie, that like reporter girl.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Chris, you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen it.
She's like a reporter girl who like when they're doing that when Chris what is it not
Hecker.
Chris Pena
Yeah, Chris Pena.
What is his name?
Oh, Michael Pena.
Michael Pena is doing his whole little shtick when he's like, my friend told me that this blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know that there's like a girl reporter, and I hate her.
Wait, is this one of those situations, Nolan, where you just hate someone but you don't know why?
No. She used to be on this YouTube series. I watched it for a little while, and it was based off of what is Will Wheaton's YouTube channel with the games. Tabletop. No, Tabletop was the series they did, but it was part of an overall YouTube channel.
You hate Felicia Day?
Not Felicia. Yeah, what was it?
Geekly or Geeky?
Geek and Sundry. No.
It's not- Geek
King
and
Gary
Sundry
says
is
Anna. Or wait.
Yeah. Her King. I don't think that's her.
Anna and
I don't think that's her actual name. It's close to that though. It's Anna something. And Kana is not
Well,
definitely. Anyway,
How are we going to
What
get from this
about her,
lady
and
you
why do
hate
you
to
hate
God
calm
of War?
down, Brad. Geek and Sundry. So it is Geek and Sundry. Thank you. There was a station where this like little mini series they started where they would make arts and crafts things. Like they made the Batmobile out of like macaroni or like something really weird like that. They would just kind of do stuff like that.
That
And
does
there-
in fact sound weird.
And there was this guy.
They use rotini for the wheels.
Sure. And there was this guy on it, and he was actually pretty good. He had a pretty good personality, and he was the one that was doing everything, and she was standing next to him, and it was god-awful annoying. Like, all she would do is bitch. I'm like, oh my god, this is taking so long. Or like start eating like the food they were using. And
the macaroni?
Yes. Oh, they did one where
You're
they
not
made
supposed to
like
use
a
cooked macaroni
they made
when you do that stuff.
a Majora's Mask out of like candy or some shit.
Oh.
And like it was kind of, I was like, oh cool, I'll watch it, why not? But like she like fucking like,
So she ruined Ant-Man for you.
and then when she was in Ant-Man, I was like, son of a bitch.
Huh, I can't wait to see who this person is. I have no idea who it is.
Yeah. Anna something. I don't know.
It's not Anaconda.
It's not Anaconda. No, I figured someone would have posted her name by now.
Sounds really rational.
Yeah,
and I
screw
don't
her.
understand.
I hope she passed
be
away
rude.
and we didn't know about
That's
it.
What the
rude.
fuck, bro?
Brad's the worst.
Why
human
is,
in
like,
the
Brad-
world.
But like
Stick.
peacefully in her sleep.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yes.
Brad's stick over the past couple of years has just been to like say outrageous outrageous jokes that would like offend anybody, but in like the most, I don't know, light way possible. I don't know how you get away with it, Brad.
But it's
I
only
couldn't have
bad
got-
if she actually passed away.
what if
and the
she did?
chances of that happening are so low,
Right.
I went for it.
Right.
My
Re-
God.
rest in
I
peace.
guess her last name is Akana.
The point is,
Was a comment.
you should watch Ant-Man.
I'm going to. I'm going. I just don't know if we'll be able to do it before the movie
You're
on
terrible.
Saturday.
You're fucking terrible.
I am running out of time. I literally only have one evening left that I do want to watch. Well, maybe I'll watch it. I don't fucking know. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
just watch
the
it
point
tomorrow.
is,
It's
not even
video
that
games.
long.
Video games are what we're here to talk about. Let's talk about them because you know what? I'm fucking dying to talk about God of War.
Oh, okay.
I'm dying to talk about God of War.
Oh, great. Here we go. God of War.
But before we get into God of War,
Wait, Nick, did you hear that?
What?
It sounds like I just thought there was some feedback coming from the mics.
What?
feedback. I heard some feedback too.
Oh, god damn it! Oh my god. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. I forgot. We read feedback. God damn it, Nolan. Why couldn't you just say, you forgot about feedback? Fucking.
I was trying to not have to just tell you. I was trying to like make you just remember, and you'd be like, I don't hear any feedback, but we got some feedback.
Oh shit, I'm terrible
It's
at
all
these
good.
stupid transitions. All right, we'll get to God of War in a minute. Guys, every week we start the podcast off by reading feedback from our last episode. Thank you guys so much for your comments, your questions, any of that good stuff. If you have anything you want to say after tonight's episode about any of the conversations we have, leave us a comment on the post for this episode at 4playernetwork.com, and we will read it and respond to it next week. I won't forget. Riceball80 says, just a thought about a possible Splinter Cell at E3. You may have heard this elsewhere, but why waste the surprise of Michael Ironside voicing Sam Fisher again in a limited mode in another game? He's talking about Ghost Recon Wildlands. I would assume if a new Splinter Cell is happening, they would drop that surprise at E3.
I'm believing this more and more.
Probably.
Wait, believing what? They're going to announce a new...
I think the Splinter Cell Michael Ironside thing is like absolutely just a Ghost Recon thing.
Yeah, it's
possible.
For sure.
I mean, basically what he said in this comment kind of leads me to think that as well, because remember before this happened, before the Ghost Recon Wildlands thing happened, we were talking about a possibility of Splinter Cell at E3, and I was like, I'm calling it now. End of the Microsoft press conference in E3, new Splinter Cell game, and then they wait to the very end, and then he talks, and he was like, oh shit, it's Michael Ironside, and that was gonna be like their big like bomb.
Hey, at least they didn't
but-
announce the Ghost Recon, his appearance in Ghost Recon at E3. Imagine that reaction. You know the Splinter Cell. You see the lights or whatever, and then you hear Michael Ironside. Everyone starts going crazy, and they're like DLC for Ghost Recon. That's
yeah.
a total conquer.
Yeah.
Right.
That would have been
Microsoft
that would have
thing.
been a wet fart. I mean, but here's the other question related to this. If he's not going to be voicing Sam Fisher in the next Splinter Cell game, but do you think they're still going to announce a Splinter Cell game at E3, but just without Michael Ironside?
No, neither. I don't think that. I think that series they tried to make that a big financial success, and I think it hasn't been.
But it just
in a
doesn't
very, very long
Splinter
time.
Cell.
God damn it! No, that was terrible.
By the way, I
Even-
thought the Young Conquer thing was a fever dream, but it wasn't. It was a game for their augmented reality glasses. Microsoft had that one year.
That went nowhere.
That went nowhere. It was a young Conker. It was like I'm a kid-friendly Conker.
But it's funny. That just made me think of technologies that come up and everyone's like, "This is gonna be the shit," and then it goes away completely.
Yeah,
like Google Glass,
like Steam machines.
But the funny thing is I know a bunch of people that work obviously in the IT industry and some that work at Google, and they were saying that like the people who worked on Google Glass like were required to wear it. Like at work. Ooh. And so the other people who worked at Google will call them glassholes.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
I had a thought. Oh, yeah. It's funny because like I was listening to another podcast this week, and someone brought up Splinter Cell Blacklist, right?
Yeah.
I think I was listening to Rebel FM, and like someone started talking about, oh my god, Splinter Cell Blacklist was so good, and the other two people on the show were like, which game? And they spent like the next 10 minutes trying to remember which one Blacklist was. He was like, no. They kept thinking. They're like, it was this one, right? And he's like, no, that was Conviction. They were like, they made one after Conviction.
And then they realized that they didn't play Blacklist or something.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That game was so good. I don't know. Like, I feel like if we see Splinter Cell again, if it's not this year, I think if we see it again, they're going to have to come back and like completely reinvent it. Like, I mean,
probably.
Tomb Raider disappeared for a while and then came back and was totally different. So they might Tomb Raider-fy it or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, can you scroll down, Chris Davis? Por favor. Chai Tai says, I am upset that Nick, that's me, didn't give Year Walk on mobile a full try.
Yes.
I am also
upset.
Okay.
Agree.
Okay. I am also upset with myself. While it is on Steam, the game utilizes the mobile platform well, and I actually think one aspect of the game, the Year Walk Companion, loses a lot of impact when it's built into the game instead of being a separate app. Please go back and give this one another try, even if it's on iPad. First of all, don't own an iPad. 2,
you own an iPhone.
Yes, and I had an iPhone, and I remember if anybody remembers back a few years ago, I tried to play this game, and my problem was I kept playing because I don't bust up my phone to play games very often. So like when I do, it was a situation where it's like I'm going on a flight.
Yeah,
perfect. I'll bring my headphones and I'll play it. And there was a puzzle in the game that was specifically using sound. And I could not hear it over the sound of the airplane, even with my headphones on. Mm-hmm. So I could not tell that it was like picking out the difference between these tones, right? Could not hear the difference at all.
Was that because the window had gotten busted out?
Oh, too soon. Too soon, Nolan.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm going on a Southwest flight in a couple weeks.
Me too. Our flight to E3 is on a Southwest flight. Thanks, Nolan. Anyways, the point is, I never tried picking it up again after that. So for that, I apologize.
It's a huge shame.
I know it's only like 4 hours or something.
Not even.
I finished
it on my flight home because that was the flight from Pittsburgh.
But you know what? Also, I tried it again. I think off the plane, and I was like, I still can't really tell what it was. Like thing where I was like, I think I'm tone deaf. I can't hear the sound differences.
It is. I remember the puzzle you're talking about. It's really slight.
The trees, right?
Yeah, you have to. It's like you're going through like 3 pathways basically, and you have to pick left, right, or middle, and you have to do that like 4 or 5 times, and you're going off of a specific tone that you're trying to listen for, and it's really slight, but also I bet if you just clicked around for like 10 minutes you'd solve it.
I mean, that's how I kind of ended up doing it. Yeah, that kind of sucked. But one day I loved the atmosphere and I loved everything else about it. I'll give it a try at some point. Maybe I'll try and do that soon.
You do yourself a favor and do that.
All right. Scarecrow says, I like how Brad said, quote unquote, Kratos is probably not going to do godlike stuff so casually, like pulling out a giant staircase effortlessly. I think you said that last week when we were talking about God of War Ascension. And then this new God of War starts off with very casual godlike shit seconds after it begins.
Yeah. But it's not the same. He's more like lumberjack strong, not...
But I mean, like...
dude.
I will say other stuff happens.
He does a lot.
He's strong. No, he's still godlike strong, but he's not... interacting with stuff as cool.
It doesn't happen as often that he like all of a sudden just fucking rips a fucking door.
But that's
off
more of a
byproduct.
We'll talk about God of War in a minute. That's more of a byproduct of I think the pacing of this game is just totally different.
Yeah.
Anyways, he said I'm suddenly interested in Yakuza 6 after last week's footage.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Son.
That tweet that was like the screen cap of all of us watching that, and then like the zoom in on Crispy's face was so good.
I want to go on that ride, Daddy.
And last comment tonight, Miklopa says, Chris Davis. Alf did actually have an ending. They did a movie years after the TV series finale aired to finally put a proper ending to it.
Is that like Serenity?
I guess they did. Also, Nick, how can such an adorable guy like Alf creep you out? Because he's fucking creepy. I don't know. His eyes are like pitch black, and he's got this weird
It's the shots when they
It's his
showed
schnoz.
The
like,
schnoz,
his whole body. That's when it was like
It was-
a real
yeah.
tragedy.
Like someone in a suit.
the schnoz with the fucking
The
pitch
ripples?
black eyes. Yeah, with the
Well,
ripples.
his schnoz is ribbed for your pleasure,
Yes,
Nick.
exactly.
I don't think that was like a bad show, right?
I don't even
I've
remember.
literally never seen a single episode of Alf.
I don't think people look back.
I remember
fondly
his
on
voice
Alf
very
like they do
distinctly.
Yeah.
like MASH or something.
I-
Big Wazoo in
remember-
chat says can confirm Alf is creepy.
I remember trying to watch an episode like within the last 6 months, and
What if
made
you
it
Googled-
5 minutes before I stopped.
Alf 34.
Anyways, he also closes out by saying, "I'm interested on hearing how you feel about Ewoks. I personally hate those fuckers." I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent to Ewoks.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't have a reaction to it the way I do about
I
Alf.
liked
that's
them a
for
lot
sure.
when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't think they have the same appeal as they did when I was a kid. In fact, when I was younger, I used to think that my favorite Star Wars movie was Return of the Jedi, and then as I got older, I started to realize no, I was in fact wrong. It's in fact The Empire Strikes Back,
Thank you.
and I think a lot of it has to do with Ewoks.
Immerse yourself in
I think
the
Empire
zeitgeist.
Strikes Back was my least favorite when I was a kid.
No, I think no. Well, yeah,
Because
I, think you might be
I
right,
was
Tony.
like, there's not even like a Death Star. I don't know. I don't know what my reasoning was, but
whatever it was, it
I
was
thought
stupid.
Cloud City was a really lame way to end that movie.
Come on.
oh no, Nolan.
I'll show you later.
Oh, I don't want to see it.
What Nolan's busting out shock videos while we're
It's
trying
not a
to record.
shock video. It's a picture of Alf.
Oh, ooh, I don't want to see it.
Next to another picture.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for your feedback and comments. Like I said, if you want to say anything after tonight's episode, head on over to 4playernetwork.com, make an account, leave us a comment. We'll read it and react to it next week.
Yep.
All right, now let's talk about God of War.
Dad of boy.
Dad of Boy, yes. I don't even really know where to start. I know everyone on the couch here has played.
Start at the top. Is it better than God of War Ascension, Nick?
Yes, yes. In fact, I actually have no desire to finish playing Ascension.
Oh,
I mean, to be honest, I'll probably do it anyways.
no, fuck Ascension.
But
Seriously.
I mean, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to go back.
Don't.
Yeah, don't.
Honestly,
to
I think
Ascension.
as much as I liked God of War 1 and 2 and even 3, I think it's gonna be hard to even go back and play those games.
That's what I didn't want to hear.
I mean, it's only
They're very different games.
are-
Don't even say that.
okay.
you know?
Okay, there's something specific I do want to kind of say about that. One, I do prefer this game leagues more than the original God of War trilogy.
Well,
But
very different
I think the fact that the God of War trilogy exists and the style of those games and the way that Kratos is portrayed in those games, everyone likes to talk about how this game is so much more mature, the pacing is so much better, and like the characterization of Kratos is actually like, what's the word I'm looking for?
They got rid of some of the jaffiness.
Sure.
But remember when you were fucking them bitches, and
In
then
the
you
water?
saw the candle
Yeah.
shaking, and then the wax went everywhere when he was done?
Yep.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
Well, I mean, that happened.
It did happen. You did have to mash that circle button.
Okay. The point is, I feel like there is a
They're
notable
different genres.
Yes,
I mean, we're not even talking in
I know,
they're-
but like what I'm trying to say is like the fact that those games exist and the fact that they are portrayed the way they are and Kratos is portrayed the way he is in that original game makes this game better. I feel like, because if you play those games and you remember that character and specifically how
Well, I mean,
fucking angry he was and how
This does.
I'm sure the story like gets in. So we need to be careful. Maybe establish where we are before we get
Yes,
into this,
yes.
and be very clear about not spoiling things.
Yes. So
because
I don't want to talk
I'm not
about.
very-
I don't want to talk about story spoilers. I will also say no one on the couch here has finished the game yet.
Yeah.
I personally am at about 16 hours. It's kind of hard to gauge to because this is, to a degree, an open world game, and there's a lot of exploration and side quests to do and stuff. It is not a traditional open world game. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But like I've played about 16 hours, but only about 4 or 5 of those maybe have been actual like mainline story questing. Everything else has been side stuff.
Okay, because I think that I am the least furthest.
Probably.
Can I establish where I am just so maybe we can be a little
Can you
careful
be?
around that?
Can you? Sure, but can you also
So-
be kind
so
of
this
vague
lake-
about it?
So I got to this lake.
Yes.
I did all the stuff I think I could around that lake for now, I think,
Yes.
maybe.
Okay.
And then I did a little more of the story after that and sort of what's going on with the structure in the center of the lake sort of revealed itself.
Yes.
And then I kind of I went to a new place and then I stopped.
Okay, I know
Okay.
exactly where you
Sure.
are then.
Okay.
And to be honest,
You
as far as
Crispy?
Yeah.
Are you
Past
you're
that.
past that? Okay.
Past
Okay.
that. You're talking about elf armor.
Yeah.
No, we already talked about elves. We're not
Do you
talking
think? Do you think I'd be more prepared to play this shit if I had seen the Thor movies?
No.
Okay.
there is a lot of
the Norse
references.
stuff
I saw a blue dude in this, and I was like, I think there was blue people in one of those Thor movies.
But those were the frost giants,
Frost
and this guy was a dwarf.
He's a dork.
But
And
Oh,
they
okay.
explain why he's dwarf or
But
why he's blue.
there
later.
are characters, creatures that you're going to meet in the place that you just got to that I think are in fact featured in the second Thor movie. Right? Are those supposed to be the same things?
Yeah.
The
Well,
dark.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
about,
see,
like,
that's what
Tessa
I'm
Thompson's
saying.
character?
I've never seen that
No,
Thor movie.
from
but-
Thor 2.
Yeah.
The
Christopher Eccleston's character.
Yes,
and all that.
exactly.
I think those are in fact.
No, yeah. I mean
Yeah.
it's all drawing on the same concepts and
Well,
elements.
so that's the
of
thing.
Norse
So here's-
mythology.
so
like the nine
I've
realms
been
and
playing a
all that
lot of this with Bernadette, and Bernadette's only knowledge of Norse mythology is from the Thor movies because we've recently watched all three.
I will
of
say
them.
that I also
It-
feel that way. Like I
And
don't
that's fine.
think I know a whole lot about. I don't know as much about Norse mythology as I did
Sure.
about Greek mythology. That's for sure.
And so the funny thing is all these things will start happening, and she'll catch those key words. Like they'll mention the word Ragnarok, and she's like, Ragnarok, I know that.
Yeah.
And so
I had the same reaction.
And she's like, she's like, did they get that from like Thor? And I'm like, no, Thor got
Odyssey.
it from Norse mythology, and this also is Norse mythology.
It is kind of interesting that we're kind of in it. We had these two very different takes on the same kind of material, which is I think is pretty
Whose
interesting.
footage is
And
this?
then if you
Nick,
count
mine.
fucking Hellblade,
Are you wearing-
Sacrifice?
Yeah. Oh,
which
yeah.
is a very recent game. That's another
also
completely
Norse.
Are you
different
wearing
look
like
at this
defense
kind of stuff.
armor?
Yeah, Nick, I wanted to tell you something. You picked the ugliest fucking armor in the game.
There's a lot of
That
there's plenty of
stuff
ugly armor.
sucks.
I'm wearing this thing right now that looks like arm chaps.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about. The runic. It's
I
like.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I
think it's called runic.
They were like leather chaps for my arms,
Yeah.
and then I stopped
They're kinda
wearing
like
them.
Have you gotten the
Yellowish or
assless
yellowish?
chaps yet?
I actually did a test. I'm still kind of early in the game where like I'm gonna put all this shit on that boosts my cooldown, and then I pulled out a stopwatch and I was like, "Fuck this shit."
Yeah.
Just so you know, well, I guess this is. So one thing I know that's gonna be. I feel like I was playing this game and I didn't realize, and I think honestly, if we're gonna kind of just, if I was gonna get one like kind of gripe about the game I had out of the way,
Sure.
it's that like I feel like this game is super heavy with like menus and character progression stuff. Like
I
there's
think the
different.
menus just suck. That's what makes it worse.
The
Maybe-
text is way too fucking small.
The text is too small. They have,
Some
they
of
have
it's
patched
small,
that out.
and then some of it's like in your
Nick,
fucking in the
I'm
way.
saying I think there are too many systems.
Have you used that slider from the patch?
No, I haven't yet.
It goes from 1 to 10, and the text goes from here to here.
Oh.
Like it does
No.
almost nothing.
Not
I did
It's
that too.
pretty
Well,
ridiculous.
There's
Is
a
that
lot of
problem,
systems.
text size?
There is indeed a lot of systems, and I think the reason that it feels.
Look how fucking tiny that
Awkward.
text is, Chris.
But look how big
I'm
the
playing on a
graphic is.
I am
Big
also
TV
playing.
bag.
I am
I'm,
also
like,
playing
sitting
on a large TV, so
2
it
feet
hasn't
in
had.
front.
I feel like I haven't had, and I'm sitting fairly close to it.
no, but hold
so-
on. What I will say is, Nick, I often cast and
Yes.
play games from that seat.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can.
When I'm playing this, I started sitting in that seat closer to the TV.
The
'cause I
subtitles
can't
are really
read the
small.
fucking
What I
text.
recommend doing is going into the menu. You can put a background on the subtitles, so they're easier to see.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommend
That's helpful.
That. There's a slightly transparent one and then a full, I think, opaque one. But yeah,
But essentially what I was trying to hint at, and I thought this was gonna be something that were probably going like you might get a lot more out of it than I would because you tend to be more.
well,
of a,
if that
like a
stuff
stats
is like
person
really
and-
that meaty, but
dude, there is so much.
Yeah.
loot
No, I've seen some
and
of that
different things you can attach. And like you can customize your axe, your armor, you can upgrade shit, you can buy new armor. Like
which is good. But I'm a little worried that like. I don't want to upgrade my shit because then around the corner I get
You're
something,
gonna get something better, and
it's
you
like
didn't
fuck.
spend
I didn't
your-
even
yeah.
know I could get something that did that, and
See,
I spent all my money upgrading this shit.
that is kind of why the approach that I've taken has been I kind of found something that I like, and I just kind of focus on upgrading it, and then I
Yeah.
don't
Is it just
bother
attack?
I don't bother changing my armor much
So here-
unless I find something that significantly raises my stats without lowering much.
So here's my kind of take
If
on
I
that,
see like more
Brad.
than 2 red numbers on the thing, I forget it.
Here's my take on that, Brad. Kind of like you were saying, where you put a bunch of stuff that added to your cooldown, you pulled a stopwatch and realized it wasn't as much.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it's like, oh, has a slight chance to cause this effect or blah blah blah. Like honestly, just go with whatever. Like,
but
I
there's
don't-
enough slots and stuff to where you think that maybe you can do what is essentially a build, right? Like I'm gonna make a Kratos that is like can through his special runic ability so often because I boosted my cooldown. And then I realized,
But the problem, Brad,
it suggests that maybe you could do that, and that's what's
kind
frustrating.
of. But here's my thing: is I still don't understand the pacing of this game level wise. I'm probably farther than everyone here.
Yeah.
I'm level 4.
I'm
That's weird. Yeah.
I think I'm level.
like,
Actually, I think I'm almost level 4. But he's played more than I have.
a lot,
by quite a bit.
like
A
D&D
lot
or some shit.
more. Like at one point, Brad, how much experience do you think, or gold or money do you think you have up there right now, Nick?
About 4,000.
4,000?
Are you talking about experience?
Experience, yeah, experience.
About 3,300. I think.
At one point, I was over 200,000.
What?
Yeah, but I'm still
What?
level 4. Like I haven't.
How many hours have you played?
But that's
I guess it doesn't really say. Does
Yeah,
I don't really.
It's hard to tell.
I don't really get what experience counts towards your overall level.
No, I'm not talking
'Cause that
experience. I'm
I
talking
don't
about
think
money.
it does.
Oh, wait,
No, experience
money?
and money don't count towards your level.
I think-
all that does is your equipment. Your equipment is what levels you up.
Oh, you're talking about Hack
Destiny.
Silver?
Yeah, hack silver.
What a stupid.
And
what's
so
Hack
like
Silver?
it's a Destiny style. That's how Destiny does it, right?
Yeah,
Where your
Lord,
equipment
like,
affects your level.
you have a level that's based
But
on
the
what
more
you've
money
got.
you have means you can buy better equipment and upgrade that equipment better and then be a higher level.
this else?
But here's the thing: I'm like so much farther than you, but I haven't really found equipment that makes me that much more powerful. Now that being said, I did just recently start going into Milfheim, whatever that place is called.
Yeah.
And that
Where
gave
the
me
trials are.
yeah, gave me access to some equipment that did raise my level, and I think I might have just hit 5. But I am like several story missions ahead of Nick. And also, I've done like every single time I've done a story mission, I have done every single sub mission that's been opened up since.
Yeah.
I've been doing nothing but exploring.
Is that the way that's paced? Does that feel good?
It feels good to me.
Can we
Okay.
talk about so? That I feel like is kind of where a lot of the meat of this conversation is going to come from because
The structure of the world.
the structure of the world. Because kind of going into this and then based on what I had seen and stuff, I was going into this. I wasn't sure what kind of world this was. I was like, is it open world? But they were hesitant to call it open world.
Yeah.
I was like, does that mean it's linear?
It's
I really
open
don't.
world light.
But like what I've found is that because some people are really kind of turned off by open world games.
Sure.
I personally love them, but at the same time, I do understand like the kind of the knee jerk I don't want to play another open world game. There's certain limitations. Maybe I'm just burnt out on that style of game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this game more than maybe any game I've played in the last few years straddles the line between open world and like linear game design beautifully.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely not like The Witcher 3. It's not Red Dead Redemption. It's
No.
none of those kind of like huge, super open, go anywhere, you can go anywhere technically, but like it's a hub world, a big large hub world with branching paths that kind of go off in different directions that lead to different side stories and characters and things and side quests. And everything kind of folds back around and leads you back to that hub.
Dark Souls 2. If you
It kind of and that's actually the first thing I thought of was like it does remind me of Dark Souls 2 on a bigger scale.
But
And I
but
fucking
not
love it.
as like detailed. It actually reminds me maybe of something like a Darksiders-y type
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's
like,
been a while since I played Darksiders, so I can't really remember
Like,
exactly
It's
how that
very
was
similar to
structured.
Darksiders.
Yeah.
or Darksiders 2.
And I
or
love
whatever,
Darksiders
think-
too, and I think maybe that's why I'm enjoying this
Yeah.
so much. Especially it wasn't
I
what I
get
was
strong
expecting.
Darksiders and like modern Tomb Raider vibes from
Yes.
the pacing in the world.
Yes, and honestly, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought up the Tomb Raider thing because I had this thought where I was like, the way this is obviously a very different game from the original God of War games. It's a reinvention of the series from the ground up, and it feels to me kind of like what they did to Tomb Raider. But for some reason, I feel like it works way better with this game than
Well,
did
yeah,
with
because Tomb Raider's fucking boring. Like, it has a boring story, boring like weapons and abilities and stuff. Like
I mean,
this
that's
is
a little
more
harsh,
like
but-
fantastical, so you can do cooler shit, right?
So
True.
I did want to talk about the cool shit you can do. So one of the things I kind of got frustrated early on was because similar to Brad, I was trying to kind of save up that experience. Like, oh, what if I get a better ability later
Yeah,
on? Because
yeah.
not only do you need experience to unlock abilities, but you didn't need that experience to upgrade that ability to make it more powerful.
I have maxed out my axe as
And-
far as I can go right now. Like
Sure.
I can't. I haven't found another black flame that will allow me to
yeah.
level up my axe and
A
get-
frozen flame?
frozen flame. That's
Yeah.
what it is. I'm-
And that's fine. Yeah, you constantly are like getting a new frozen flame, then unlocking abilities. But the thing is, it's like how much. It's a question of do I think I'm going to spend a lot of time using this ability? Do I want to spend my hard-earned experience on it? And so I think early on, I actually like I was a little too reserved, and I wasn't spending my experience points on those abilities, and I was really just focusing on.
They didn't seem that good early on. Also,
they don't seem that way, but the farther you get in the game, when you're fighting not like 2 enemies, you're fighting like 12 enemies, and all of a sudden like all this shit's going on. You kind of do need those more advanced abilities to ensure that you can like handle the situation. That's and I think also early on I neglected Atrium,
Atreus,
a little too much. I was like, whatever. His arrows and stuff don't really help that much. But holy shit, when you like start leveling up his abilities, he's super fucking useful.
Yeah, that's true.
And I do like the very subtle little hint of sometimes after a battle, he's like, if you'd like, I'd shoot more arrows. Essentially saying, press square more, stupid.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking free
Also,
ammo.
he does get more confident the more you play. Like,
that is
like
true.
He's very recently started like doing that thing where, and it might even be tied to an attack that I got or something, but like I'll do an attack and he'll run as I'm lunging and he'll like jump on my back and then jump up and attack a dude. But he wasn't doing that in the beginning of the game. Crispy looks.
He's just looking at that footage, which I don't want him to talk about because I don't even want to look at it. Because
I didn't know.
That seems like very set PC.
I do have a question about where you are in the
But still,
story.
it seems set PC.
It's a side quest.
This is a side quest. This has nothing to do with the story. I specifically chose
it. It is still obviously
where,
something I have not done in this game.
But this is like, where are you in the story?
Like I haven't even blown the horn. If that tells you at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So I haven't even done that.
Have you killed Loki yet? I'm just kidding. That's a joke. I don't even know if Loki's in this game.
One thing I want to say about character progression, I think you talk about experience and like leveling up your character, which I think is cool, and getting new attacks. But like the thing that I think makes a much bigger difference, the more fun part of the character progression in combat is actually getting all the talismans that give you new abilities and stuff that you can tie to
R1.
Because those
talismans
are like
seem cool.
There's a lot of variety there, and like I'm constantly switching those out.
There's a lot of variety in the talismans and your attacks, choosing which R1, R2 trigger attack you want to do, choosing which L1 circle trigger you want to do. I'm constantly
the runic ability.
Yeah, and I like the fact that I don't need to go somewhere to do it. I can just pull up the menu and do it. Like Atreus, I don't think you've gotten any of his. He gets some special abilities too.
I haven't gotten those yet.
And at first I had one,
like runic summons or something.
Summons, yes.
He gets runic summons.
I have 4 summons for him now, and I'm constantly switching them around depending on the scenario.
And you do that in the fly.
You can just switch them out, and that's what I mean. The cooldown is still there, but I still love that I don't need to fucking go like back to some bonfire to switch something out. Just whenever I want, I just kind of it makes sense. Like you can't have 12 things equipped at once just because that physically doesn't work with the controller. But at any point in time, you can swap them out, and don't be afraid to either. Like definitely spend time like understanding how certain enemy types react to your attacks.
Everyone's pretty high on the combat.
I'm really enjoying it.
It was a slog for me at first.
I will say it's not perfect. I definitely was bitching about it a lot last night when I was playing, because I often find when an enemy is 1 or 2 levels higher than you, even sometimes it's a fucking
That's
bitch,
like The Witcher
and
3.
they can body the shit out of you. They will fucking stun lock you sometimes, and it gets so frustrating when they stun lock you, and as soon as you're about to be unlocked, another enemy runs up and just does it again.
So like a lot of those portals where you open them up when you have the fighter dude, they come out and they're like level 6, and I'm level 3, and they destroy me.
Is everyone playing on the default difficulty?
Yes.
Yeah, normal.
Can I say that I started on hard and
it's hard?
No, it's like a terrible hard. It's not a good kind of hard. It is the enemies have way more health and you have way less health, so you die in just a couple of hits. And that is the worst way to do like artificial difficulty boosting, especially early on in the game, and all you can do is like swing your fucking axe and throw your axe. It was like so unfun that I didn't start enjoying it until I turned it down to normal. I'll say this. I think the good way to do a harder difficulty is like something like a Platinum games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry or whatever, where you have harder enemy types earlier on in the game.
Like they're smarter, they use better tactics.
Well, no, you just have like harder makeups of enemies.
Okay,
but
sure.
like early on in the game, you might have encounter those witches like sooner, or you might have a couple of them instead of just one. And this game doesn't do it like that at all, and it's really bad.
Huge pet peeve for me.
I know exactly what you're
when
about
you
to say.
go to fucking lower a chain, he automatically starts climbing down.
Yeah.
And oh my fucking god, why? I have never lowered a chain and wanted to go down it. I lower it in case I need to backtrack later.
I wouldn't be surprised if they patch that out later.
Well, in general, where I am right now, and again, it's not as far as you guys. I'd say like the kind of clambering around on shit in this game in general is just a little like
it's okay.
lackluster.
You don't honestly don't do it that often.
You do it a lot more on the old.
I wish I
the
could just fucking let go.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Climbing up cracks and.
But y'all kind of mentioned earlier upgrading your axe and stuff like that, and that's kind of one of the things I love about the style of this game. First of all, this game's fucking beautiful.
Oh yeah,
like holy shit! I'm playing it on a pro, and at first I was doing it on the performance. I ended up switching it to the 4K because I do have a 4K TV, and honestly, it still runs.
I've been scared
smooth.
to do it because I figured the frame rate would take.
No,
a dip.
it actually runs fairly smooth.
Shit, I've been playing.
And it honestly, Nick, I mean, if you don't have them side by side, you can't exactly tell how good it looks.
Yeah.
But I have been playing it in like the 4K mode, and this game's fucking beautiful. And I love the details. Every time you upgrade your axe, it gets slightly more intricate. Like the actual like face of the axe gets more.
I
detailed.
just noticed last night that the head of my axe is like, oh my god. Look at it, has like
all these
jewels in
little
it,
like
it's
jewels and runes and things.
everything.
And one of my favorite parts about that is the two dwarves,
Brock and Signy or Signy?
No, that's
Sindri.
Yeah.
That when they upgrade your axe, because you've met both of them, right, Brad? Yeah. And they kind of their banter against each other. Oh, my dumb brother, blah blah blah. Yeah. But every time he's like, oh, let me see that, and he holds the axe and he takes his hammer. Dunk, it's upgraded. I fucking love that. Then he just kind of like, dunk, and then it's just it's better now. I understand, but I think that's I do like that. I like those characters.
They do a thing where like the first time you go, you see him, and then you walk out of a room and you go down a path and you walk around a corner and he's there again. They're like, wait, you were just what the? And he's like, he like makes some smart ass story. He's like, no. It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic. It's magic.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, no, he's like, I could explain it, blah blah blah. It's magic. It's magic.
I like that stuff. It's all pretty good.
So, how do you feel about like the attempts at humor in this game?
I love it. Are you talking about like the banter between him and his son?
So I'm usually the guy who's like, you have certain people. A lot of these people like the DC movies more than Marvel movies, or the thought of them, and they're like, I never want this shit's. Thor 3 is too jokey.
Sure.
I hate that one the most of all the Thor movies, or whatever, Like, those people exist.
Correct.
And I always kind of like roll my eyes at those people. Those people just never want to laugh. They just want to have their favorite stuff taken seriously or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like this, I feel like for the first time, I kind of don't like the humor.
Really?
Between, like, only specifically between him and his son.
That's my favorite.
But I feel like that feels out of place to me.
No, I think it makes so much sense because it's not even humor. It's the clashing of their personalities.
So yeah, I don't.
He's a mama's boy,
but it's becoming a little too clever, and that joke is becoming a little too old.
I agree, Brad, to an extent. That I think it's a scenario where we consider it humor. But if you were sitting in their shoes,
correct.
Atreus says something, and Kratos is like blah 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 blah. That would be an awkward situation to be in. Like if you were actually there. But looking at it from the outside, there is humor to it.
Also,
my favorite parts are when Kratos just ignores like a dumb joke that his son makes, because that feels like the most realistic thing. He probably spends a lot of his day just kind of like not even acknowledging some of the dumb shit that his son says.
Sure. Yes, I agree. But like, there's also. There's also really important like story reasons for why
I'm not against the humor at all in this game.
No,
I think like when he comes across like the dwarves or whatever, his reactions to those guys are like absolutely gold.
Yeah,
just like I don't have like I'm not gonna put up with this shit. Just fucking, and he just like walks away or whatever. Like that stuff works for me because that is a humor that plays off of Kratos' thing. But like the thing between him and his son, it is kind of become like a bit almost.
But like I feel like it doesn't happen that often. The thing is like a lot of it's really important banter because like it kind of slowly.
The banter's good. It's good. The writing is really good. Like I'm not dissing the interactions between him and his son. I'm just saying sometimes it gets a little like joke bitty and it feels off.
Sure. Because
the nature of their quest is very serious. Kratos is a very serious character. He's raising his son in a very serious manner.
But I think that's the point, Brad, is I think this is an evolution. I think of it like fucking this guy used to be a criminal and used to kill people, and he went to jail, and then he got out of jail, and he had a kid, and his wife died, and now he's stuck with that kid. And it's him kind of trying to become a better person to an extent.
Yeah,
he's still kind of a fucking asshole.
Yeah, of course,
but
and he should be.
He's realizing that, hey, you know what, this little fucking human.
I understand the character arc, and I know it's doing that, and I know it's where it's gonna go. It's just sometimes it almost feels like Dragon Age banter, and that to me feels a little off.
Yeah,
it's just a little.
Sure.
I'll
concede that.
I've acknowledged it.
Sure. Crispy, do you have something you wanted to add? Crispy?
he's thinking about it. He's thinking.
I think he's still in the DC comment that I made.
I'm still on Venom. No, I disagree with what you're saying, Brad. But I mean, you said it's only a little. I just don't feel that way. I feel like I really didn't like the other God of War games because of Kratos and because of his story.
Yeah.
And now that he's different, now that he's
But do you see what I was trying to say?
de-Jaffified a little bit.
Do you see what
I like it more?
Does anybody else feel the
No,
way
I
feel about,
agree. Like Kratos is not even a remotely likable. Like I'm not a God of War fan.
No, I know.
I've
just saying,
played like
I
one
think
and a half or 2.5 games in the series.
There I don't know. Maybe it's just because some of a lot of the banter and a lot of the stuff that happens is just kind of like happening while you're exploring the world, but then like story beats are a little more serious. I really was kind of amazed at how well they struck a balance between the two.
Yeah,
I think the writing and characterization is fucking great. I
agree.
I think that my whole thing with this game, and the one thing that's kind of baffling me, is that it's being lauded as this achievement of storytelling.
It's not.
There's barely a fucking story going on here. I don't know. I don't think I'm the only one, but maybe I am. But I've played half the game so far and half of that time that I played was me just okay, waiting for the plot. Where's the story? Where's it coming? What am I doing in this game? What's happening? It wasn't even until we got to the first milestone goal, the thing that they set out to do. You get there to do it, and they're like, "Oh, we're here to do this thing," and I was like, That's what you were doing? That's what this has been about? That's what the journey was? They never even
bothered
to mention it.
They did. They did. The whole reason they left in the first place was to go spread their mother's ashes or his wife's ashes.
Yeah.
When they first leave his house, that's what they're doing.
They talk about I guess.
They talk about
you could kind of blink and miss it, I suppose.
It's not a thing though. It's all pretense to get these two on a journey together.
Yes.
And the game doesn't really care about why they're doing whatever they're doing. There's not really an overarching plot. There's not who's the bad guy really? I mean, the guy who showed up in the beginning for some reason.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. We're talking about spoilers, and I don't know that there are spoilers for this game.
Well,
but there definitely are.
There definitely are at this point.
I don't feel like anything I've seen so far was oh wow, someone told me that.
It is definitely a slow burn on that story front.
Everything that's been really surprising and been really interesting has been mechanical, has been gameplay. Nothing about what's going on lore wise or whatever has been.
Maybe it's that juxtaposition of you have there's all these systems, you fought hundreds of enemies, yet the story is a very small one.
So
which is good in some cases.
No,
but
I
the
don't
juxtaposition seems weird.
I don't think that's a fault with the game. I think there's a lot of weird elements to this game that are coming together in a really good way, but if you separated them out, would be faults in any other game. I think the story is kind of half of a story. The open world is half of an open world.
It's funny because you played half of a game.
Well, okay, I understand, but I mean, I can just not talk about the game at all until I finished it. But what I'm saying is everything in this game feels like kind of a half measure, but it all is working together really, really well. This game is still just a character action game. It's a third person character action game.
85% of what it is.
I would not call this an RPG at all.
No, I wouldn't either. I would say this
it's
is
got those mechanics. It's got the systems. It's got a level of flexibility to it. But this is not an RPG.
It's not. This is definitely a character action game that doesn't even have much of a story. There's a very simple story that slowly you learn some more information about, but that's not what this game is, and that's not
There's
what I've been
definitely a
enjoying about
premise,
this. No, there
but
is.
there's not, like, a
They have an
plot.
objective they set up at the very beginning of the game. This is why we're doing this, and honestly, they talk about it a little bit more maybe than you remember, because the whole point is what they've been doing is the boy is supposed to be the one doing it, but he's not ready, but they don't have time to get him ready. They got to go now, and that's why they're doing it. And multiple times, not even in story missions, just randomly throughout the thing, he'll be like, "Can I carry them?" And he's like, "No." And so don't get me wrong, I'm not loving the story of this game. It's okay, it's pretty good. I'm playing this game for the gameplay, for the world, for
Wow,
the
I could not
exploration.
disagree with y'all more.
I don't know.
But
I
you
don't
were, like,
Nick,
Nick,
I'm not.
I'm not saying the game story's
don't
bad,
think-
Nick.
yeah, I
I'm
don't
saying
think
there's
you're-
not
I didn't
much.
Say you'll say it was bad. I'm just
And
saying I feel like there's way more there than y'all are giving it credit for.
I'm saying there is story there, and what I've
It
like
is
experienced has
incredibly
been good.
reactive.
No, I'm saying the story elements I've seen have been good, but like we had mentioned, we talked about kind of comparing it to The Last of Us earlier on. But I think this is like a fraction of that. There is very little story beats that happen. And what is there I've been enjoying, but I haven't been enjoying this game overall because of the story. I've been enjoying the world around it. The story's nice, and I'm enjoying that it's there. I think it would be kind of worse off if it wasn't. I do think it needs to be there.
I am completely enthralled by their journey to take the ashes to the top of the peak.
Yeah, Nick, that is completely different than what I'm talking about.
Then I'm totally confused as to what you're trying
Okay,
to say.
what the elements that I think that you're referring to when you say their journey to deliver the ashes is all about what's going on with Kratos and Atreus, right?
Yeah.
That stuff is fantastic. That is characterization. That's an interplay. Like that's the kind of story that you write like one acts about, like on Broadway and black box theater. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the kind of thing that drives like an epic action game really necessarily, or traditionally, I guess. They're doing a really good job of it here because they do have a bit of a story. They do have a bit of like rising action. They have a bit of an antagonist. They have a bit of like a reason for them to be doing this, but like none of that stuff matters. Kratos doesn't care about any of it. Like nobody in the story is really that plugged in with what's going on, or they are super plugged in with what's going on and they're not sharing it with the audience. Like the actual story, like the beat of like A to B to C to D is incredibly basic, and I'm not saying it's bad. I just wasn't expecting that necessarily. But the focus here narratively is absolutely just on characteristics of these two people, like
Yes.
interacting with each other, and,
And that-
the people, and every single character in this game that I've encountered so far has been fantastic. I mean, like there's some great bit of characterization going on here that I think a lot of companies that are doing like actual huge 100-hour like fully fleshed RPGs could learn from.
Definitely.
I just think that like the actual through line is super weak, and when I hear
Is it
people
weak
talk,
or bare bones? I feel like weak is just. Well, the thing is, I also feel kind of like where we are now in the game. It might feel like it's weak, but at the same time,
That's
by the time
true.
you get to the end, when you see
could
where
be
it was
better.
going,
but that's also really weird if you have to play half the game and then they start a plot.
But
you
like
know?
I've been
big game, though.
I've been super engaged by kind of the mystery that they've been kind of.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the one thing. Like that was what was pulling me through. Was like the combat's really fun. The game looks cool. There's some really neat locations that I'm checking out. But like the reason why I was like playing it for 8 hours the day it came out straight was because I wanted to figure out what the fuck was going on, and not because it was some big like elaborate mystery, but because the game literally just like wasn't
tell
telling you anything.
It's like seriously crazy that it's such a simple story in such a big new
There's
like
so
bombastic world.
Like you're in a fucking like you're dealing with like travel between realms and like magic technology and like all these really high concept elements and all these really like fantastical things, and you just normally, I mean, it's just it's a product of conditioning. You just associate that kind of stuff with like a bigger, more epic, like
I'm gonna give you your
lore-driven
answer.
story, and that's not what this is.
I'm giving you your answer right here. They're not setting up one game; they're setting up like
3.
5.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sitting here thinking like like I don't feel a real sense of stakes about them delivering the mother's ashes to the highest mountain in the realms or whatever their quest is.
Because you know they're gonna get
because
there.
they're gonna get there, and like it is literally just a pretense for them to go here and then be like, oh, there's a magic door, we need to go find a key. Okay, well, there's another 2 hours of gameplay finding that key. But the oh fuck me.
Oh god.
Puzzles.
God, you were gonna say something, and I
Sorry.
was trying so hard to get it in before you did.
I'm so sorry. I was
oh
just.
my god.
Should I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say like. I agree with everything. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but like, I don't like most of the time. Like, I'm just not hooked into what's happening. I'm hooked into their interactions. I'm hooked into like what that is. But like I'm so far gone like in the margins on this game. Like I'm thinking about like what the fuck does this mean for the world though, that like you've got Greece over here and they've got a pantheon of gods, and you've got the Nordic countries over here and they've got a pantheon of gods. Does that mean that all the gods exist? Well, like there's so many bigger questions that I'm asking that I know this game doesn't give a shit about ansering.
There's gonna be so many
Like,
games though.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, in the third one, they've already said you're going to kill Jesus.
Like,
no, like, and then what does that mean? Like, what is this like whole like transition from like old gods to new gods? Like, there's so many
they
like
might answer
dynamic
that,
elements
though.
to this universe that like I really wish
might
they
get
would be
there.
exploring, and they just don't care.
I honestly
Like,
don't care. Like, I'm having fun playing it.
Can I just say something?
I'm not saying that this is disrupting my enjoyment of the game. I'm just saying like wow, they've got a lot here they could be dealing with, and it.
What's up, Nick?
The road.
The thought that I've been trying to get out, and this is kind of what I started with, and I don't know if it came across, probably should have brought it up after we started having this deeper conversation, is that, and maybe this is just a byproduct of the fact that I did play all three of the original games,
Sure.
and some part of me really enjoyed and appreciated those games, despite the fact that they had some serious problems with, like, telling a mature story and all that stuff. But my favorite thing about this story is the fact that I know where Kratos came from. I know about what happened to him and the implications that has on where he is now. The fact that his son doesn't know about his past, but the player is assumed to know, is a incredibly interesting driving force.
I do enjoy
in this
those
game.
story beats.
And not to mention, every time there's a moment like a slow moment where Atreus
really
does something and like you see Kratos like want to reach out and comfort
touch
him,
him,
and like
yeah.
but he's like I can't do that. I can't show my
The first time.
That's great, and
This may
that
be
that
okay.
stuff is fantastic. It's weird that you say that though, because I'm coming from a completely different perspective of like I've only played the first God of War and I didn't even finish it. I feel like the story is written for people who never played a God of War game.
And the thing is,
Like-
it's kind of done for both.
Yeah.
Because you can pick this up, and I have a feeling by the time the game is over, they will tell you what you need to know. Because I think this is all building towards Atreus finding out about his father. And,
Sure.
like, that's going to be kind of a driving moment. And at that point, they will
Yeah.
kind of fill in the blanks for people who don't
Well,
know.
it's not just Atreus finding out about his father. It's Atreus finding out about himself.
Yes, that's
It's actually really interesting, and I have to give it props for that, in that like you're playing a game where you're just like fighting monsters and giants and dragons, and you're going through like these portals to mystical realms and everything, but like none of that is the conflict.
Yeah.
None of that's the conflict.
No,
the
I was
conflict is
shocked.
just this guy trying to talk to his kid. Like
That's
is
true.
weird, but like it kind of works.
And like I was actually kind of shocked because they give you like you get to a point, you just got to the point where you learn about these other realms and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, so that's where the meat of the game is. You have to go all these realms and do something, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the levels, quote unquote. And then I found out they're all optional,
So hold,
Yeah.
with the exception of probably the first one. I think the
That
first
is
one's
a little
required.
disappointing, because when I found out that the Lake of Nine was like a portal to the Nine Realms, I was like, oh my god, are you going to every single one of them in the story?
Yeah, that's what I
and
thought,
you're
too.
not.
But
And
there
that
is
kinda-
stuff to do in
Right,
in
there
like
are,
6
but-
of them.
But it's not like they're not like huge sections like some of them are.
Correct. They're not all giant. But what I will say, coming off of some of this stuff, is how much of a badass do you feel when you call back your fucking axe and it just flies into your hand?
I fucking
and
love
that's
that
the
weapon.
best part of this
every
game.
single fucking time when he just holds, it's like Thor. He just holds his hand out, and a second later, and the best part is when you throw it somewhere and you travel a
Yes.
long ass distance
can
before
hear
you
it
call
coming
it,
to you for
and
like-
it takes like 5 seconds to get to you. I fucking love it.
That's so cool.
Like, it makes me want a Thor game, but at the same time, no, I'm glad.
No.
I would rather just have this instead of a Thor
Makes
game.
me want a Beta Ray Bill game.
Couple things real quick.
Oh, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
On the axe,
Yeah.
I know it's a stylistic thing that they did to make it come back not straight back at you.
Sure,
Right,
like
okay.
a boomerang.
But for gameplay purposes, I kind of wish it came back straight, just so you could
they,
use it
like,
a little more
They
tactically.
factor that into like how
Puzzles and stuff, right?
puzzle shit
Yeah,
that you have
yeah,
to do.
but like I feel like I could like be more devious in combat
I am
if it
pretty
came
sure.
straight back.
I am pretty sure if there are dudes between you and the axe, it will automatically know that. Like I've seen times
There
where
are
a lot of
times
times
it
it
comes
curves a
straight
lot,
back.
and the other times it'll like go out of its way to hit like 2 enemies on its way back.
I've
I don't know.
noticed
I
that.
think it's absolutely a product of like your distance from the axe. If
Ah.
you're close enough that it can't curve, it just comes back to you. But like I've done that. I've gotten killed a lot of times because I was like, oh, just hit this guy on your way back, and it didn't.
It goes around
Yeah.
him, and you're like, come
Yeah.
on.
Couple things real quick I wanted to just briefly mention. We were talking about like great lines with father and son. My favorite fucking line in this whole game is like one of the first things in the game, where he's talking, where they're about to leave the house, and Kratos is like, "We're gonna hunt deer," and the kid's like, "Now?" And he's like, "Now," and he goes, "All right, where to?" And he goes, "The direction of deer."
Yeah.
That's like that's the fucking
This
best.
is a very Worf Alexander Rushenko
Yeah.
kind of relationship.
Second, I want to say, and I know that this could, I don't know where y'all land on this, but, and I was raving about it when it happened to me because I was streaming it when it happened. That first boss fight where you fight the stranger
Yeah.
is one of the most epic fucking things I've ever
It's
done in a
cool.
video
It
game.
was pretty
It's
good.
cool. I wish elements of that fight were more just like part of the mechanics of the
Yeah,
game.
and I'm waiting for like
But-
that next fight that's gonna be as
Dude, it
fucking
made-
that was one of the coolest boss fights I played in a long time.
It
It'd
made
been
me
cooler
want like
if
a
Twitter, every person on Twitter wasn't saying the exact same fucking thing.
what? That it was good.
the best superhero fight ever.
Oh, it
I
made me
mean,
think
like,
of, like
it
Dragon
it
Ball
is
Z
though.
or
Like
some
you can't
shit.
like I used to like even up until I played this game. You know, Brad. I keep bringing up. I have always brought up when I think about like epic one-on-one boss fights. I always bring up the battle in Devil May Cry 4 versus Credo, right? Because that has, up until this
Guido.
point, that's never been topped for me as like just a fucking brutal one-on-one boss fight.
It's a great
And
fight.
this topped it for me.
But that was a very
but that's
mechanics-driven one. This one was very
Azura's Wrath.
story-driven.
That was like some of that. If you didn't play Azura's Wrath, some of the boss fights in that game were intense as fuck.
I do feel this is a little more This was a little more hands-on. I mean, I know Devil May Cry is a very like precision-based, like mechanics.
But the problem is it was so
character action.
early you didn't even have anything yet.
Which is
really
why
deal
I'm
with
like
it.
super excited to maybe fight him again at the
True,
end.
true.
Like that kind of stuff is super exciting.
But and you know I think it's going to get there, and I think
Yeah.
the story is probably ultimately going to answer some of the questions you
No,
have.
I-
and future games
I'm
will
sure.
most
I
certainly
can't wait
too.
to talk about this with you guys after
can-
we've
I
all
really
like finished it.
Yeah,
there.
for
I mean,
sure.
there have been some wonderful set pieces. I know I'm gonna hear next week about this, but like when I'm talking about plot, I'm not talking about like a lot of the really cool moments that
Yeah.
we've been responding.
Oh, you're
to.
right, you're right.
Can I say one controversial thing? I will say I am enjoying this game. I see a lot of potential. I can't wait to get to some of the abilities that you're spoiling for me now.
There's so many of them though.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah,
Dude, what was that one
but
where you-
I do want to say one controversial thing here about New God of War is I think it's maybe hard to beat Greek mythology. I think some of the enemies and
That's why
stuff
they
you're
did that
fighting
first.
don't really compare to some of the cool shit you fought in some of the older God of Wars because I don't think Norse mythology, at least like enemies and stuff,
It doesn't have as many cool
compare to
things.
Greek mythology. You fight a lot of different colored glowy dudes.
No, I didn't want to kind of bring this up first because I didn't want to like spoil. That's one thing I've noticed. I'm about 16 hours in the game and about maybe halfway through the story, maybe a little bit less. And I'd say, a surprisingly large percentage of the boss fights, quote unquote, that I've had in the game have been against trolls.
Sure.
So
I
I-
want this Kratos to go back to the setting of the other game.
I will say, no, that would be good. Yes, I agree with you that Greek mythology does have way better like like Medusas and
Yeah.
Minotaurs and things like that.
Yeah.
You do later on start encountering more enemy types.
Yeah.
There definitely are more.
There
that
are
I know
like
you haven't
that
seen
character
yet.
that I just met the other day. Where I don't want to spoil, but like,
Is it a
Sure.
Norse god?
yes.
There's a reason
So
God
then
of
how is it a spoiler?
I mean,
yeah.
because there's
Odin or
Thor?
no,
Baldur?
it's not no
Hela?
no. Wait, is Hela in the game?
I don't know.
Oh,
Is
stop
she?
it.
Spoiler alert.
There's a reason that the series started with Greek mythology.
I'm just saying, like I think maybe the characters that you interact with are some of them are really, really great.
Yeah.
Like, even it may not be as diverse necessarily so far as the Greek mythology, but like there's some great
A lot of
stuff
white
there.
folk.
Yeah. I mean, it
A lot
is
of white
Norway or Norse mythology.
But yeah,
Hey, I mean, fucking...
but like the fucking world serpent's
Time
fucking
doll.
cool.
The
That
world
is
serpent's cool,
that is pretty
but
cool.
like
I will
this goes back to like Crispy's point. Like I feel like when someone meets the world serpent for the first time, that is like more interesting than Ashes.
Sure.
Maybe,
Yeah.
you know.
Like,
I will
Also,
that
I
juxtaposition.
have I have had several moments in this game where like I keep thinking to myself, who the fuck was the mother?
Oh yeah.
Because like it's become such they
You
say
learn- you
they
learn
talk
more
about
as
her
time goes
over and
on.
over and over again, and I'm like, she's got to be
you
important.
do learn more as time goes
And
on.
like that's the kind of stuff I'm really interested in. Anyways,
I
we
will
do need
say,
to move on.
real quickly. The World Serpent, fucking awesome. More stuff happens with it. There's one island I was exploring that's right under the World Serpent. And so every 5 seconds, and I wanted to fucking fucking just shove something in my ears because every 5 to 10 seconds, just Kratos like, I'm Kratos. Like,
He's
oh my
old
God.
and he's grumpy. Okay,
No,
and I'm not talking about Kratos.
Yeah, exactly. The world. Yeah. I don't know, anyway, but yeah.
Anyways, we need to move on. We have talked this for quite a while. We probably should take a break unless there's any games we can maybe squeeze in quickly. Or should we take a break and then come back and talk about this?
Probably should take a break.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit about the demo for Detroit. We're gonna talk about Lightfall, BattleTech. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this quick break.
Hey Nick, I played BattleTech.
Cool. Tell us about it.
This is a
Well, Brad's gone over time. Shock his nipples.
it's
Shock his nipples.
It's
Shock
getting
his
late.
nipples.
Getting late. Well, we talked so much about God of War, and we needed to. It's the big game, and that's the one I got to hear about on all 20 podcasts I listen to in the next couple weeks.
That's your own damn fault. You should listen to our podcast.
Well, I'm on it. So BattleTech, this is the new mech strategy game set in the BattleTech universe. You know,
Wait,
Mech
is it
Warrior.
BattleTech universe?
Yeah, it's the big chunky robots. Have you ever played? You probably played Mech Assault, right?
I played
the
Mech
dumbest
Warrior.
looking robots.
Wait, you played Mech Warrior. Okay,
This is the same universe?
yeah, same universe. These are it's Mech Warrior.
I didn't know that was a universe.
So BattleTech was like a tabletop strategy game,
Yeah.
and then it spun off into like Mech Warrior, which was the
Yeah.
PC series and all that shit.
So Mech Warrior, what was like the big, it was the PC series, what it's the sim like mech game, but it was a action first person. You were in a mech, and then the mech, the mech assault games on Xbox. A lot of people played. I think that's where a lot of people are more familiar with this universe from the console side. But that was more arcadey action shooters. But they're both good in their own right. And then there's been some other games related to this series over the years. The ones I played some Mech Warrior back in the day, and I played the Mech Assault games. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So these big chunky mechs are very familiar to me. The different types or whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. But this is a turn-based tactics game. I'm gonna make the comparison to XCOM, since everybody in the room here has played a modern XCOM
It does
game.
look a little XCOM-y.
Now the mechanics of combat are not very XCOM-like, but the strategy layer to this game, like outside of combat, is very XCOM. Where you have a ship, you're traveling through space, you're taking jobs to earn money because you have to pay your fees at the end of every month. You see it in 30 days. Here it comes, the financial review board, right? It's very similar to XCOM, where everything you do from I'm traveling to this point and taking this job, where I'm doing these repairs or updates to my mech, or my pilot is injured, and that all takes time, and you're on this like constant timeline that's costing you money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is very XCOM.
The stress factor is there.
Yeah, and that stuff's good, just like it was in XCOM, right? Maybe not as developed to say it as it was in like XCOM 2, But it's more like XCOM 1, and I think it's good enough. But the real star of the show is the turn-based tactical combat, because you have all the depth that you'd expect from like a mech warrior style strategy game involving these big mechs, where it's not just about shooting at an enemy and watching them die. You very much have to take into account, your positioning. Also, your heat levels are a big thing in this universe. Your stability. So if you could be decked out with like tons of lasers and shit, right? But if you jetpack over to a good spot and you unleash all your lasers, you might set your whole mech on fire. Because you're overheating. So you have to manage those levels. Sometimes you'll be like, well, I can't really unload all my weapons on this enemy, or like I'm on a snow map, so heat is not as much of an issue as opposed to a map, where heat is like if you're in a desert, you have to be way more careful about overheating.
Yeah.
Because you could overheat and kill your pilot. And
They still have the thing where you like can shut down your mech to like burn off heat.
I don't know, because I've never actually completely overheated, but it is possible. I think you can maybe eject to save your pilot if things are going to go bad, nuclear or whatever. No.
The mechs don't explode.
Okay.
They don't explode. They don't explode when you kill them. That was my mistake.
Ooh.
Okay, we'll get to your story in a second. Hold on. Let me explain the particulars.
Wait, have you played this too?
Well, hold on.
I played the
He played it
demo
at
at
PAX.
PAX.
He played it at PAX.
Oh.
He got into an argument or a
wasn't an
snobby conversation with the
With the creator
Pro.
of BattleTech.
Okay.
Oh, I remember that. I'm sorry.
You also have to take into account like your positioning, like because your armor on the back is like a lot weaker. You have to take into account stability as well. So if you're getting pelted with like lasers are one thing, they're not going to make you unstable. But if you're getting pelted with like a lot of rockets, it'll make your mech way more unstable. They might take out a leg, in which case you might like topple over in battle. And these are big hulking mechs, and that's like a serious thing, because if you get knocked over, they can target like particular weak points on you, and
For massive damage.
Yeah, for massive damage, and it's just really good. A big thing to the tactics in this game is like your evasion stat. Like that's gonna be what saves your life in almost like every fucking scenario. Which is it leads to a kind of a weird concept where the further you move, the more it adds like these evasion like pips, these evasion like counters. And so the further you move, the more evasive you are. It's almost like simulating, like even though it's a turn-based game where every mech is taking your turns, it's kind of simulating like you're maybe on the move. Even though you've already stopped and taken your turn and the enemy's now shooting at you. But it's advantageous to use your jump jets and to move as far as you can because you're more evasive and you're less likely to take fire.
It's simulating time.
Simulating.
It's like how like in turn-based tabletop RPGs, characters are said to have speed, not like distance that they can go.
Sure. But it's a stat you very much have to understand to be successful, because this game is very it's very difficult. So like when you start off the game, there's 5 skulls, right, of difficulty. And all the missions you're doing, like at the very start, like the first few, are just half a skull, right?
Is that from mission to mission, or like a overarching overall setting that you choose? You're saying like each mission has its own difficulty?
Yeah. And then there's like the main story missions, and then there's side jobs just to pay the bills and to upgrade your mechs and stuff and get salvage and whatnot. But like I was doing half a skull missions and I was feeling pretty strong, so I did a full skull. Granted, out of like 5 skulls, and that full one skull was so much harder than half a skull. It was so much harder. Either that, or I was making some really bad decisions. It took me a few tries to even like get a hold of that battle, and I'm like, my God, what is a 5 skull like? But then again, I'll probably be having much bigger mechs, assault class mechs or whatever by that time. But yeah, it's pretty cool. One other thing that I think that is a little cool in this is when you're taking a job, you can negotiate whether you want to say, oh, I want it all paid out in money, or I want it half paid out in money and scrap. And there's kind of like these sliders that will move depending on what you choose. Or you can say, I don't want money, I don't want scrap, and your reputation will go up because you have like a reputation meter too. So like you're making a lot of decisions even before you go into the battle. That seemed kind of smart. All in all, it seems like really compelling. Like I'm kind of addicted to
scratching the itch.
It's scratching my that XCOM itch. It's scratching my Mech Warrior. I'm not like a hardcore fan, but I do like these big towering, like walking, battle
Ugly.
Yeah, I mean they're like charmingly ugly, or maybe it's just because I have some nostalgia from playing like Mech Warrior back in the day. But I don't have front mission anymore, so they have all these cinematic sliders in the menu, and I turn them all the way up, so it does like the cinematic cuts, like even if I move and whatnot, which because I wanted to, there's a lot of probably hardcore fans that turn a lot of stuff off, but I'm channeling my love of front mission a little bit through that, and I kind of like the cinematic stuff, and I like it in the new XCOM too. So there are some maybe some like technical, like people are having some problems like tech wise, like frame rate and stuff like that. I haven't run into too much of those issues, but it reminds me a little bit of like XCOM 2 when that first came out.
When you say XCOM 2, you're talking about like the most recent XCOM?
The most recent XCOM. When it first came out, it was PC only. It was really rough around the edges. There was a lot of like weird like jerkiness to it, like some frame rate issues. I'm experiencing a similar kind of thing here, and I'm hoping that a lot of that stuff gets patched. But Harebrained Schemes is the developer. They're a small indie studio. They made the recent Shadowrun games, and they're good, but like they're not like these big budget games. And this doesn't quite have like I think maybe the team size or the budget of an XCOM. So I don't know how quickly they're going to be to like patch some of that stuff. But if you look on like the Steam reviews, you will see maybe not like super very positive scores because some people are complaining about tech, but then there's also this other element that I've been informed about today.
That's what I saw on
because
Discord.
you can like choose your pronoun when you're creating your character. That some people may be kind of bombing some of the reviews on Steam. So maybe read some.
Just like,
Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's
like
gross.
the most petty shit.
Just maybe read some professional reviews, see what they say. Even there's a little bit divisive, but I'm enjoying it a lot. So that's BattleTech. I'll maybe try to play a little more of that on the feed in the next couple of weeks.
Sweet.
There was another strategy game I had been getting some emails about, and it kind of looked XCOM-y. But the characters were like animal, not like. Like one of them's like a duck. Yes. Have you seen that?
So I've been watching trailers of that on my stream. It kind of
looks good.
It kind of looks pretty good.
I forget the name of it. I have an email from the developer just like, hey, here's a gameplay demo and stuff like that. And I'm kind of excited for it.
It kind of has. It has a look. It has a look.
The style of the game. It looks like XCOM.
It's very much XCOM, but it has a. But
cool style. There's like a duck, and I think one's like a wolf or something, and they're like humanoid though.
Yeah. It has a weird name.
I can't remember what it is. I was trying to find it in my email. That's what I'm doing.
That actually sounds familiar. Maybe I got an email about it.
I'm like searching like XCOM strategy, like tactics. I'm trying to find the email. I know I have an email for it somewhere.
Well, you might have to wait because it's your turn to talk about your games there, Nolan.
Yeah, so let's talk about one of the games that came out today, actually. Lightfall.
Oh, it came out today. When did you find time to play Lightfall?
Last night. I played some.
Okay. I see. Okay.
So I got a key actually last week. For it because I talked to these people at PAX 3 years ago.
I played it at PAX South like 3 years ago.
PAX
it's
South,
a PAX South darling.
Yeah,
there's a lot of those. I feel
at least 2 or 3 years ago. This is not a I think the first PAX South. I think this was on the show floor. And
there's always one.
I didn't play it then because I said, should I play this? And y'all were like,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. But that wasn't enough for me.
So I've stayed in touch with the developer, and they sent me a key for it. And so, sorry, Chris Davis, I should have told you can fast forward a little bit in this footage. But that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Jeez, this game looks boring, Nolan.
Maybe fast forward a little bit if you can, Chris Davis.
What is this shit?
Yeah,
just standing around.
So it gets to actual gameplay.
God, just jumps.
Just because I'm not going to talk about the game for too long. But yeah, so it is.
So he jumps to a white screen.
Now it's just a white screen.
There we go.
So it is. When we originally saw it, we all got like Limbo vibes from it, because it definitely is a like shadow. Like
Yeah, it got the
there's-
Limbo vibes first, and then Ori and the Blind Forest came out, and then I started comparing it in my mind to Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah.
I hate comparing it to other games, but
So
like that's
don't, because it's a platformer. And it is a fast-paced platformer.
Yeah.
Is the easiest way to think about it. Yes, it is. It is very.
Would you draw any comparisons to Super Meat Boy? I mean, I know it's not like you die 1,000 times, but in terms of its speed, 'cause
it can go quite fast.
yeah.
And so one of the things about this game is, like I said, it's side-scrolling. You run very fast. You're platforming. You're obviously you hit spikes, you die. Fast forward a little bit. To the gameplay. Well, I mean, Christine, like halfway through, I'm going to talk about this game for like not even 5. There you go, perfect.
Is this a
Somehow you
story-driven
got to
game?
like another
No, there's
cutscene.
like so many cutscenes.
God damn!
It's like a
Nolan.
Kojima game.
So at the beginning of the game, this is like literally me starting up the game and playing it. There are quite a few cutscenes that kind of deliver story.
Oh, look, gameplay.
Oh, gameplay.
Yeah, gameplay. This is me finding a secret, and I think I die a bunch. So how the game works, the shtick, besides platforming and wall jumping like any other kind of style of that game, is you can create these cubes, and I think I'll do them kind of as I run
Light
around.
cubes, if
Yeah.
you will.
As you're running and you jump in the air, you can just create a cube, and it will automatically spawn under you, which means you can jump off of it. And you can create, I want to say, either 3 or 4 cubes.
You're just cheating.
What? That's a mechanic in the game.
But it looks like you're bypassing the level.
It looks like you're bypassing like all the.
It's like when you can fly in Mario 3.
Yeah.
That series jumped the show.
No, so you can only go so far because you can only create so many cubes. But yeah, so that was another mechanic I had just learned, was that I can create a single cube and manipulate it in the world to, like in this case, block a laser. And I did
Which you just failed to do.
It reminds me of trying a little bit.
Kind of trying. Yeah, with the wizard who would create the blocks and stuff. But yeah, so the whole thing is that you're trying to. I don't know. There is a story. I don't remember too much about it. It's for me. It's more about the platforming, and it is pretty good. It's very fast paced, and it's easy to what's the word? Get a little bit out of hand. But because when you go so fast, you can go really fast in this game.
Just when you were running, I was like, "Holy shit, he's hauling ass."
The difference between running and walking in this game is ridiculous. Like it is like 10 times faster. But yeah, so the whole little shtick with you creating the blocks under you comes into some puzzle mechanics later on. Obviously, if there's a laser that's shooting up, you can easily just create a box under you right before you hit that laser, and you won't get hit. The boxes obviously help you when you're trying to platform around. Like
What's the
It
structure?
definitely looks like
Is
it's
there,
going to
like,
be.
levels based. Or-
It's kind of get from point A to point B, and then it kind of moves you on.
but like Limbo, you're not backtracking.
No, you're not backtracking. It is linear in that regard. You're just running left to right, pretty much, with the occasional kind of move around slightly to solve some puzzle, or there's like a secret or something like that.
It definitely looks like it's going to ramp up and become just all about like precision platforming.
Yes, and unfortunately, I've only
high
played this
rates of
game for
speed.
maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, I finally got around to it last night. You can blame God of War.
I blame God of War for why I didn't get to play
I
Detroit.
got the key for it last week, but then I fucking
today.
just got sucked into God of War and didn't actually get a chance to play it until last night.
Are you going to keep playing?
Oh yeah, no, I am enjoying it. I do think it has some really good mechanics. Like I said, it's very similar to something like a Meat Boy or some sort of runner. But the little shtick with the creating of the block and moving it, and there's actually another ability you get where you can. There are enemies in this game you'll encounter, and you can get this almost like it's not quite a dash. It's almost you like throwing a block. But it like kind of disintegrates as you throw it, so it will damage enemies.
Oh, okay.
I think this is me learning right there. So you kind of throw the block in front of you, and it will destroy things.
I can dig it.
The game's Lightfall.
I think it looks like it's gonna like when you start to like get really good at it, and you're using all of these things together. Like
Yes,
boom,
that's
boom, boom,
what
it's gonna
I'm
be
looking
Seems
for.
like
is-
it'd be at its best when it's not really kind of slowing you down.
Correct. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'll definitely play more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, then we will, I'm sure, in fact, talk about it.
I just definitely wanted to talk about it tonight because, by the way, it came out today. If that does look interesting to you at all, go check it out on Steam.
Sweet. Did you have another game other than Detroit?
No, just Detroit.
Okay. Let's talk about the demo for Detroit. Detroit
Become
Become Human is the next game from Quantic Dream, David Cage, all that.
We talked about this demo when they first premiered it, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was they've used tirelessly since it
Yep.
came out. However, I didn't actually play it at E3 last year. It was one of those situations where I had to kind of choose between this and something else, and I went with something else. But there's actually been a lot of talk about, because this is the first playable demo that's been available to the public.
Correct.
And this is actually the same demo they had at E3 last year.
Yes, I played at E3 and I got a different outcome than the 2 times I've played it since this demo was released.
Which is different than the one that I got.
yes.
So that's pretty cool. So, of course, if you've been following this game at all, you may recognize the demo. that they
Wait.
use-
No, the second ending you got was the one I got at E3.
Oh, okay. So, this is obviously very much in the same vein as like Heavy Rain. It's essentially a very elaborate, just like point and click adventure. Are you laughing at the word Android on his back?
I just can't stop thinking about that joke. Like,
What joke?
About David
Well,
Cage
like-
thinking
like
he has to put
making
Android.
a character that's an android wearing a jacket that says Android on the back is
Yep.
completely emblematic of David Cage's writing style.
Yeah.
You'd think just like the blue circle on the
Right.
side of their forehead
Wasn't
would kind
enough.
of be a dead giveaway.
Well, what if they're wearing like a headband?
Yeah. Or yeah.
I don't think androids
Isn't one of the
do
main
that.
characters put her hair down
Yes.
over it? So yeah,
They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I mean,
Right.
here's the thing. Like,
the jacket they can't take off.
I do want to say, we'll talk about this game at length when
Well, how
it
did it
actually
sour?
releases, because it'll be out late next month. I'm pretty sure we're all planning on playing it.
I will.
Right.
I'm
Isn't
going
it
to.
just kind of like a uniform though?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's fine.
here's the thing. We'll get more into the
Yeah,
get more
it's
into the
fine.
story.
It's kind of funny. Though.
We'll get into the logistics of the story next month when we talk about it when it's out. I mean, the essential.
Next month.
There's a lot. Yes,
Yeah.
late,
May
late
end of
May.
May, I think.
There's a lot of potentially interesting thematic or story elements here because of the fact that this is basically about humans being kind of at odds with this idea of creating artificial intelligence and androids and whatnot and using it for things.
I mean, it's not even just that. It's also about the fact that, yeah, these androids, and this is, I don't know if you and Crispy saw it. I know Brad and I went and saw the demo they had.
I didn't go to the demo
at
at
E3
E3
when they were telling us participate, and we were all like murder. But where these, no, everyone was yelling murder. I kid you not, people were yelling murder. But the whole point
Wow.
where there were these 2 androids that were like rebelling, starting a revolution against the humans, because it's like, hey, we're treated like shit, but we are intelligent. We do have free will. Blah blah blah. I think that's gonna. You only play androids in this game, right? You don't play people, do you?
I think all the main characters are androids. Because if you remember, like a few years back, they had that tech demo called
Kara.
Kara.
Kara, yeah.
She is a character in the game.
Yeah.
This character is a character in the game that you play as in this demo, where you're basically
You're a hostage
you're a
negotiator.
hostage negotiator, which has been brought in by the police. I think that's actually really interesting that like they bring in the android to do the hostage negotiation, and then when the mom sees that they run in an android, she gets
out.
really freaked out and like emotional and like upset. And I think that's a really cool like human side of it.
Do you think they only use android hostage negotiators to negotiate with defective androids, or do you think they use them to negotiate with
In
humans?
general, I think
I think it's
too.
probably in general because
it's a dangerous job.
Because why? I know.
Because androids are disposable.
Why would you? No, but I mean, why would?
Uh-oh.
God damn it, Chris Davis.
oh god, oh it's back.
The world's ending. Nope.
That's a very short warning.
Yeah, right? It's like, hey, by the way, you have 2 seconds to plug in your camera. Oh, too late.
Oh god, the battery
That's
died.
fine. The
They can still
audio's-
hear us.
Yeah, they can still hear us. So I think one of the interesting things about this demo is getting your hands on the mechanics. And I talked about this on our E3 podcast last year, a while ago. But when we saw this demo 2 years ago, whenever it was.
Yes.
And it looked cool. And then we saw the Brad and I saw the behind closed doors with the 2 androids. Well, I can't remember their names anyway. And I was like, that looks kind of cool. And it wasn't until I got my hands on this demo that I was like, I'm actually interested in this now. Yeah. And it was because we were using those, like this right here, this whole like Batman detective mode mechanic is actually really cool. I like the concept.
I think it's better executed than it was in Arkham
definitely.
Origins.
You're a super intelligent android, and you're using these clues in the environment to piece together what would have happened, and you kind of scrub through time until you find something important, and then you focus on that, and that reveals more information. And in this instance, you're using that information as to help you to try and defuse a situation.
Yeah,
with
in this
a rogue
particular
android.
in this scenario, it unlocks like lines of dialogue
Correct,
or questions
yes.
that you can use.
Opportunities to enhance your standing with the defective android.
Yeah,
to
and
get on
honestly,
the good
like
side.
that's the whole game isn't like obviously hostage
No.
negotiation. So I'm really interested to see like where it's ultimately like how many different ways it's going to find to use this mechanic in different kinds of scenarios and whatnot. Especially when you also take into account different characters and how their stories are going to interlock and the decisions you make and how that's going to affect how characters
It's
interlock.
basically futuristic Heavy Rain, and that's cool.
Yeah,
Heavy
it
Rain's
is, yeah.
pretty dope.
I do think like he talked. I think my favorite thing about the demo was actually the scrubbing through the. I think it works better here than it did in the later Arkham games. And the fact that you can actually pan the camera around in any direction to like see things, like you'll kind of recreate someone getting shot, and you'll be able to scrub through the animation of them dying, and you can see like where maybe they dropped a gun and it slid underneath the couch, and you're like, oh, there's a gun under there, and then you can lift the couch up and get the gun, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I also really like just like as you're walking around the environment, taking your time, like trying to investigate things. Two things. One, when I first went into this, I was like, Nolan, it seems to me like theoretically you could just walk around the room, examine everything, and then it shows your percentage chance of success go up. And I was like, what if you just do everything and it goes to 100% and there's like no challenge?
Yeah.
He just is like, I want to give up.
Yeah.
I think that's more scripted than you.
Yeah, but I wasn't
even the number. I don't.
wasn't
think it
really
means anything.
Yeah.
True, because you could still fuck up in the way you use that information. But like, there's also the longer in this particular scenario, since it's the hostage negotiation, it keeps saying like every second is precious. So the longer you take actually exploring the apartment before going out to approach the defective android, you see your percentage slowly ticking down.
Yeah.
So you could technically try and do everything, but you're still losing. You're taking too long, so you're losing percentage chance, which I think is a pretty cool
It's a
idea.
little weird though. Do you think people are like more likely to redo stuff because they see their percentage? I mean, like,
Well, the game
because of the red
encourages you to.
percentage makes you feel like you did something bad. Because in Heavy Rain, you never really, unless someone died, you didn't really feel like maybe you fucked something up. Does that make sense?
True.
But here, it's like flashing at you red in the face. You're fucking up.
Yeah.
Well, it does say your mission was successful, your mission was failed, but like that's not like necessarily a breaking point for the story.
Well, and I think that's going to be one of the points of this game. Like any David Cage game we've seen before, the game you don't ever fail. Like in God of War, you die. Then you restart from a checkpoint. And this, when you die, you just move on to the next character kind of scenario.
Yeah. I feel like in God of War, when one of the Soul Eaters kills you, it should just wipe your save data.
That'd be interesting.
That's fucked up. Yeah. Last thing I wanted to point out, what I thought was a really cool touch, was like as you're walking around this apartment, like trying to find all this evidence and stuff, you see all the SWAT team members that are kind of like flanking the windows, whatever, and they're like kind of waiting on. They're like
they're keeping their eye on.
They're standing down, but they're like waiting in the wings in position, ready to go out and swarm this guy. And like you'll see, like I was walking around like investigating this like the kitchen, and I see a guy like peek around the corner, and he gets fucking shot. Like it's like, oh shit, and you see him fall down, and then he like someone has to grab him, like pull him out of the way. But like that was all just something that happened.
While that was happening, one of the other cops was like, "Why is he just standing there?"
Yeah,
like because obviously, like at the time, Connor, the negotiator, was like he was looking at a magazine on the counter, and then like the cops like, "Why is he just standing there?" Like,
but like and there's other cool things, like you find a gun and it tells you like in this world. See, there's the guy getting dragged away, but like in this world, androids aren't allowed to arm themselves. They're not allowed to have guns in any capacity. So like you find a gun and it's like, are you going to take the gun and hide it, or are you going to, follow protocol and not pick up the gun? And like you think like, oh yeah, it'd be great to have a gun in the situation, but you think, oh, that could totally backfire in my face.
What's up, Crispy? You got thoughts?
Crispy looks like,
they're not important thoughts.
No, they're not.
Like,
get it
what's
out.
up?
Get it out.
Are emotions what make androids deviant in this world?
Well, no. So like, I don't know.
Like, is that what they're talking about when they say that he's deviant? Is because he manifested emotion?
Just because it's a cliche.
They say defective.
Oh, I know it is.
They say defective. I don't think.
No,
they say
they
deviant.
call
You're
him.
right.
They refer to him
Deviant,
as a deviant.
Well, I
but
think they say
he is a
deviant because he's
defective-
currently holding a
what
gun
I'm
to
saying
a
is there's
child's head.
there's something wrong with him.
Yes.
Is it that he is expressing emotion, like that he has emotion, or is it that he's just like improperly processing it?
I think so. That's
early to
a
tell?
question
Because-
that's going to be a central plot of the game, probably.
Oh, I would hope it would be at least.
Oh, it's definitely going. Like I can see it now, but like I'm thinking back to like the Kara demo that they released years ago, because like the whole thing there was they were building this robot and then she was like self-aware and then was like afraid of dying and all that shit.
Well, like the whole motivation for this guy taking this girl hostage is that he finds out
he's afraid of dying.
No. He
He's like-
finds that his own
he's gonna be replaced.
replaced.
That's
Doesn't mean he's
death
gonna
for-
die.
Oh, okay.
He could go off the fucking
I mean,
goodwill.
he does say when you're negotiating, they're gonna now that you've done this, they are going to destroy you
Yeah, but I mean,
one way or
like,
another. But yes, he does say he is afraid
we're
of
splitting
dying.
hairs, basically.
Sure.
It's an existential despair.
Yes.
is
Yeah,
what-
but like, I guess my question is that are you saying that's a bad thing?
no, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just I can't wait. I can't wait to play this game.
I am nervous about playing this game because I want it to be. I think it has a lot of potential to be cool, but like,
I mean, that's what we say
I'm
about
not
every
expecting
David
this
Cage.
to like.
Well,
now that we have things like Westworld, it's kind of like I don't know if they're
Not
gonna.
even like
it's
I
not
mean,
just Westworld; it's Telltale. I feel like Quantic Dream, the stuff Quantic Dream was doing and experimenting with, especially back with Heavy Rain, and the fact that like you have all these narratives that go on no matter what, people can die, and it goes on no matter what. Like that's less impactful now in a world where we have all these Telltale games that do the same fucking thing.
I would say no to that. In Quantum Dream games, you have the ability to almost, to an extent, get to the end of the game with everyone living. Whereas a Telltale game, it's not if they will die, it's when they will die. In a Telltale game, if someone's going to die, you can maybe prolong their life another 20, 30 minutes in the
True,
game.
but
Whereas in this, like, you can actually, like, end the character's, like, storyline.
I hope this is like
True,
Until
but
Dawn.
it's a similar style thing of high stakes decision making
Yes.
that can lead to the death of a character.
Correct.
But like, I think this another reason I'm interested in this is because this is the first Quantum Dream game in a post Until Dawn world. And I think Until Dawn actually did it pretty well. I don't
but
honestly
again,
know if
that's
gonna
another
happen.
example of this style of game. Like
Yeah.
like when Indigo Prophecy came out, it was like there was
Nothing
really
like it?
games like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are narrative based games, so the narrative
Has to
makes
be.
a difference. And the
Yes.
story that Until Dawn was telling and the story that this game is telling are completely different.
True.
And the mechanics that worked in Until Dawn worked because of the type of story it was
True.
selling. you know?
And you're right. And honestly, I don't have a lot of faith in Quantic Dream's ability to tell it, or at least to carry
mean,
to deliver at the end. I don't
like. I can't help but like think this is David Cage going like, "Oh man, Blade Runner was cool, right? I can do that."
I would love to see
Like-
Crispy stream Indigo Prophecy.
Ooh.
Dude,
You have to see how batshit insane that game gets.
like it's like the fucking Matrix by the end of it. It's
And it starts
I've
out like
always heard. I mean, I played the beginning of it.
it
the
yeah.
first half of is like
No,
amazing.
no, I know. I played for a while. Like, I rented it from Blockbuster back in the day and played it, and was like into it, but I had to take it back. And then years later, I heard about like what that game becomes later, and I was
man.
like, "You're
It
kidding."
starts as like a
no
like a
idea.
detective noir murder mystery
yeah,
type
that's
thing,
what I
and then
thought
it's
it
like
was the whole time.
and then it's fucking people flying through the air like fucking doing kung fu and
like
shit. It's-
aliens, Illuminati. It's like
That's
insane.
fucking crazy.
So I hope he has more restraint with this game. I would love them to deliver a game that actually kind of delivers.
They did.
in
It was
its plot.
Heavy Rain. and
But
it was
like
great.
everyone shit on Heavy Rain for its
Well,
story.
that's because they got shitty Canadian child actors, or French Canadians.
And it's not just the kids. All
I know,
the
yeah.
voice acting is so bad in these games, and it's probably gonna suck
Dude,
and kind of be awkward here.
I did think-
writing's a little heavy-handed, but it doesn't matter because
I like
people
that-
forget like the interesting mechanics and shit that these games do. Like,
I mean, to be honest, based just on the little that I've heard, I thought the voice
The
acting
voice acting in
in
this
was
is
pretty
good.
decent.
No, it's good.
It's definitely better than like Heavy
they
Rain.
learn from their
and-
mistakes.
remember the scene in Heavy Rain where it's a situation where you go into like that dude's apartment and it's all like kind of creepy and culty, and like he comes back and you pull a gun on him.
Yeah.
And like you literally can kill that dude by just freaking out and accidentally literally pulling the trigger on your controller. And that's how it happened to me. That feeling that I had is not something that I felt in a game before.
Yeah,
But Heavy Rain's never remembered for stuff like that.
yeah.
It's remembered for like really, really bad voice acting. in like heavy-handed like there's already baggage with Quantic Dream games, and now there's all this like studio stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Like no one's ever gonna like applaud a Quantic Dream game for like the cool shit it's doing. I feel like, especially now, and that's really frustrating because of David Cage, because I was talking about it a few weeks ago, but he's this very
controversy.
outspoken person
Yeah, he
who's
is.
talked shit about maybe how other people handle narrative, and that automatically makes him a target. So of course, no one can ever like the cool shit that Heavy Rain does.
Wait, what did he say?
I don't know. I'm just
There's
assuming.
there's also been a lot of controversy around the development of this game too right now, especially because they're talking about like the work conditions and everything is like
Yeah.
awful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was this the one where they were like, "We're sorry, we're pushing it back, and we're working like 80-hour weeks"? What was that?
I don't know if they did.
No, that was
It was reported that like they were working ridiculous hours, and like morale was like terribly low, that kind of thing.
That's a great way to make art.
Yeah.
Well, they should really just get some androids to do it.
Very true.
Like, if emotions in androids are a problem, why would you
Make an android.
do that?
Why would you give them
give them
emotions?
emotion? I can't like I guess the whole assumption is like, I mean, they don't design them with emotion, but they just kind of randomly manifest because their computer processor brains are so complicated that they just become self-aware. But I don't think that's what's going on here, right? Like, they actually do build these androids to have like emotional processes because that's a thing that I guess people would want, but that's also the main reason why they all go crazy. And
This is such a sad thing that this is science fiction, because like I feel like if it wasn't, Crispy wouldn't be interested in it, but because it is, he's like so much more critical.
That's not true. I love fantasy, but like fantasy kind of has a few more dodges, right? Like it can go like it's magic, and then you don't have
Like
to
God of
worry
War.
about it. Like
Let's move on. I am
Hold on.
really.
This is the best part right
Oh.
here.
No!
Fuck you, Chris Davis. Fuck you. I said
happened?
hold on.
Oh, it's back! It's
we
back!
gotta watch
You
the whole
son
thing.
of a
Hold on.
bitch.
We gotta-
Oh no! Oh, wow, what is this?
Okay, so
Literally half
the
a
flow-
second later.
Oh, is this the bad run?
Well, not the bad run. This is the ending that I got that Nick didn't get. It's you already missed it.
he took her
Oh,
over
he
the
shot
edge.
him.
Oh,
You missed it. Chris Davis went too far.
Oh, that's actually pretty
Connor
cool.
gets fucking shot in the face.
Why is
that
the
is
blood
just
blue?
like-
I mean,
That's how
they
you
could,
know they're androids. Why is the blood white in fucking Aliens?
that's how you know they're androids. There's like 5 things to make sure you understand.
It's
what they're
always the blood.
but they could have made it red if they wanted, right?
I do like the character quirk of all the androids having the ring, like the processor ring on their head.
Yeah.
Because it could lead to some interesting little things where it's like they're not displaying emotion, but they've just heard something, and you can tell they're thinking because it's just like sitting there blinking. and
Yeah.
you just, like,
Hey,
see the
don't give it
wheels
that much
turn.
credit.
What do you think?
Yeah.
There's a human in this game that has a tattoo of that circle?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Dude,
But,
you
like-
thought of it. David
super-
Cage might have thought of it.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like there's already talk about like I listened to a podcast. They were talking about like they played like 2 hours of the game and like the things that they allude to and they tease at.
Yeah.
Like there's some interesting places, but of course they also tease things that like they got to be real careful with, and I don't have a lot of faith in the way Quantic Dream handles it. Like
Yeah.
there are magazines that like hint at the existence of like androids that you
Fuck.
purchase for sex purposes,
Oh, sure. Why not?
and like,
Why
What-
else did they invent them?
well, I know, but like Quantic Dream doesn't have the best,
Right.
track
record
for handling that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of like,
Don't fist the androids.
it's like,
Yeah, I
it's like a
can't
warning
wait to
sign
go to
on
the
box.
Android red light district that you know is coming.
Oh yeah. But like I also like to think that maybe they learned some stuff from the reception they had, and maybe they brought on some new people that like kind of helped them steer those in better
Learn some
directions.
stuff.
And
They're still making games. They didn't learn anything.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about that at the
I
end
feel
of May.
like their sexism is so like charmingly stupid. Like they have no
as
like,
much
they-
as
like-
as much as sexism can be.
Yeah.
well, it's like, man, these guys, they really have no fucking clue, as opposed to
Lady.
as opposed to like the people who are maybe like a little more
Yeah.
aggressive with trying to be
actively
sexist.
toxic.
Yeah. Like old Kratos, maybe. Throwing women into gears
But
to
like-
like
but
solve a
like-
puzzle.
that's true.
Is
but
that really
that
something
happens
that
in God of War
happens?
2.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
But
that's what I'm saying. It's a little different in Quantic Dream. Like, these
A little
people.
bit.
But I mean, like, you look at God of War.
I
That's a
agree.
great example of a series that like went from like super immature to like the polar opposite with the new game. I don't know.
Hey, maybe this
One
will be.
And those two games, the game that you just talked about, where you threw a woman into the gears to solve a puzzle, is the same creative director that worked on the new God of War. Which, I was
Yeah,
shocked.
haven't you noticed all these like game developers are getting older and having kids and like are just overcome with insight that they need to share?
Can
with
someone
the
look
world?
up David
Like-
Cage, see if he had a child in the past couple of years?
Like-
I was
He
actually
bought a sex doll.
I was actually I was
He's
really
like, man,
shocked.
this is pretty good.
I was really shocked when I picked up God of War and I turned over the box and it said rated mature for blood, violence, and language. It didn't say
No
anything
sex
about
or
nudity or.
nudity.
I was like,
Boring.
I was like,
Well, that was the thing about
That's not what
that was the
they
thing
said,
about
but, like-
Greek mythology. There's a lot of boobies in Greek mythology.
there's
Not
probably
so
a lot
much
of
Norse
boobies in every mythology. I just
not so much Norse.
There's
It's cold, Nick. When you're cold, you don't have your boobies hanging out. But when you're in like the hot Greek sun and you're glistening with sweat, that's when it comes out. So I mean,
Wax.
there's
All right, we're moving on. Do we want to talk about
There
There wasn't a whole lot of news this week, but
radiation.
do we want to talk about it? Because we got
Well, the one news topic I want to mention.
which one?
The one that Chris Davis didn't add in. The
Wait.
original one that was up there.
what?
I have no. You got to be more.
Roll the news, Chris Davis.
I don't know what you're talking about. So
All
all right, we're gonna just rattle these off.
No, this only this one. I think.
This is a big one.
This is
two more.
there's
Okay.
3 news topics.
No,
Okay.
there was 5.
Fuck all of you. I did these overlays.
This is
There's
the
3 of
interesting
them.
one to me.
All
Campo
right, yes.
Santo acquired by Valve.
Campo Santo, the creators of Firewatch,
Does this mean
and the upcoming In the Valley of the Gods,
Yeah, and
Which
Valve.
mean
which
they're
is still coming out
It's still
under the Valve name.
Valve is publishing in the Valley of the Gods.
Okay, but
now.
what is going on here, really?
Half-Life.
Are they
3.
going to stop making games after this
Clearly.
next one?
No, I mean, no.
But that's the thing. Valve has always acquired like
Correct.
talent, and what of their shit is even like from them? I mean, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, Left 4 Dead,
Portal.
Dota.
They're-
That's all from acquiring
Yep.
other.
HR department's the real MVP of
Yeah,
that company.
and even even Portal 2, they acquired like the tag of people.
There was a
know?
recent
But- but-
recent quote from I think Gabe Newell where he was talking about how he said something about
gonna
wanting to get
start
Steam
making-
or wanting to get Valve back into the business of making games.
Yeah.
Everyone obviously give them
We're
shit,
starting.
and then all of a sudden they turn around and just acquire
Acquire
Campo
company.
Santo. It's like,
But-
so
but-
that's their strategy.
Okay, but what does this mean? Because one, this game's still coming out.
Yep.
So it's not like they're immediately putting them on another project.
No.
And second of all, does that mean they're not going to let these Campo Santo people make the kinds of games that they make? They're just
I
going
don't
to
think
put them
so.
on
I don't think
like
that,
a Valve project.
I mean, I think they picked Campo Santo. I think there was
I think it's because they have no fucking writers because they've all left Valve.
maybe, but I mean, like,
But you got to have good writing in like a Portal game or a Half-Life game.
sure,
Well,
but I also think they
especially a writing team that has proven that they're well versed in like the quote unquote atmospheric storytelling
Yeah.
that they would surely want to include
Yeah.
in something like Half-Life,
Half-Life 3.
picked, sure. But at the same time, like, I think it's very easy to maybe just to distract the general public who maybe doesn't follow it super closely. Like if they see Valve on a box or like before a game starts, whatever, they just like, oh, this is a Valve game. Like they may not like if they play in the Valley of the Gods and they see Valve pop up before it, they'll be like, oh, this is a Valve game, not really knowing maybe the detailed like, oh, Valve kind of stopped making things like Half-Life and then acquired Campo Santo after the fact, and then just kind of put their did the publishing part of it and slapped their name on it, kind of thing. Like a lot of people aren't going to make that distinction. So
But
like this is just kind of
You've been hearing all these nightmare stories coming out of Valve of
Yeah.
like these like they don't even have any sort of structure and people are just working on whatever they want to work on and like no one's making games
very open office.
and they're just doing Steam stuff and why like Campo Santo seemed like they were like really going strong. Like Firewatch was a
Correct,
big
yeah.
success, and I have no doubt that their new game is probably going to be a big success. Like, I mean, obviously Valve probably wrote them a big check, and it's hard to resist that. But like, you see a lot of like extremely talented writers and developers like leaving Valve, going to Valve, then leaving Valve. Didn't like Clint Hawking like end up at Valve at some point and then just leave without doing anything?
that sounds
Like-
accurate.
Like there's a lot of like developers like that, and it's like, but like, I
But
think
this
they
doesn't-
go there with the aspirations of like doing something like cool there, and then realizing they can't get anything done.
But I don't think this is necessarily the same thing because that's like specific people going to work at Valve. This is like Valve has just acquired this company and their business continues per usual, and Valve just funds their projects.
Valve has never done that before.
And that might be the bigger discussion here about
they bought the people what made no back. Well, whatever, it's different. I mean,
we're gonna have to kind of wait and see how it plays out. I'm wondering if this is the last we're gonna hear about them acquiring more studios, or if we're gonna start to see this kind of pick up. Like, is this gonna be their strat? Like, we're not really making games anymore, but we're gonna acquire a bunch of studios that we like to make games that we can put our name on.
Yeah,
which
potentially
is definitely possible.
Weird.
But I am very excited to see what happens with in the Valley of Kings. I think that game looks pretty cool. I want to know more about it. I bet we'll find out more about that at E3.
Probably.
All right. Next topic. Only a couple things here. Both Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild both hit pretty big sales milestones.
Congratulations.
The only reason I put it on here is just because that has some implications as to the future of these franchises. Super Mario Odyssey crossed the 10 million mark, which is
that's a lot,
especially for a game that's on one platform.
I didn't know there were 10 million Switches out there.
Yeah.
There's not that many Wii U's.
That's for sure.
So that's a pretty big milestone. Breath of the Wild is officially the best-selling Zelda game of the entire series.
Yeah.
I think at only 8.5 million, doesn't that seem super low?
Yeah, but they've always been console exclusive.
Sure, but
they've always been on one system.
But it's Zelda. I mean, did you hear the numbers that Rockstar said GTA 5 was at?
I think
that's on 5, 6 systems.
Sure, but did you hear the number?
No, what's the number?
It's fucking 90 million.
Well, Brad, do you realize how often that goes on sale on PC and other things, or
No, I know, but I'm saying you understand the next highest selling video game that's not Minecraft.
Okay, here's
40 million.
All right,
it's not even close.
We may need some clarification on this because I have a feeling this number might also be instead of being overall best selling game in the franchise. This might be in the amount of time it's been out. It's sold better. No,
it's
any
lifetime.
Other. Lifetime?
I saw
lifetime
that
sales. It's
I saw that
surpassed Ocarina of Time in lifetime sales.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't that insane? That's
But Brad, this is also a game that's been out for 6 years now?
Sure, I know, but I'm saying a lot of games have Skyrim is not even close to that. And that's another game that's been out. Yeah.
What is Skyrim at?
I mean,
that game has been remastered 18 times.
Exactly.
But I think you're also comparing. That's two different things. Skyrim is a fantasy, action game, whereas fucking GTA is a fucking Grand Theft Auto game. Grand Theft Auto has been around for a very long time. Not saying Elder Scrolls hasn't. Elder Scrolls has, but Elder Scrolls has often been geared towards more the nerdy people, whereas the people who play Grand Theft Auto are the casual gamers as well. The people who just play games for fun. I'll play Grand Theft Auto because that is a game anyone can just jump in and fucking enjoy.
No, I mean, listen,
how many hookers can you beat the shit out of in Skyrim,
I'm
Brad?
agreeing with you, but I'm saying, you look at the lifetime sales of every Zelda game, and even that doesn't compare. It's Zelda. I mean, you think of it as a big deal, right?
I feel like I've seen more than 8 million people with Zelda tattoos out in the world.
Right? I mean, I'm just saying you associate it with as one of the best ever, and then you see. I mean, it's just crazy.
I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just think it's interesting, and it has some. The good news is that this sends a powerful message. I think because everyone loves Breath of the Wild, and I think the message is more of that. Do that.
As of September 2017, looks like Skyrim's 23 million.
Damn.
Which is incredibly high. I think there was that record of Super Mario Brothers 3 was 35 million, and that was number one for a long time. But just to see GTA 5 pull away so crazy from the pack seems kind of insane to me. It's a testament to how much their online stuff sold copies, and it's why every Rockstar game going forward, that online thing is probably going to be a big component. Also, did I tell you I was in Grand Theft Auto 5 more or less? Sold 90 million.
Yeah, where's you get that royalty check?
Not yet. Still waiting on it. It's in the mail. I moved. It's probably went to my old address.
You should get a cut of those 90 million copies sold, Brad. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I probably went to when I was living with Dave. Probably went to that address.
David's just.
Yeah.
living the high life off of your royalty checks from GTA.
90 million copies. I could probably find a lawyer who would take that case.
Probably. Hey, we have a lawyer. Bring that up. Man.
Wait, so does that mean if you got like 1 cent from every copy,
Someone do the math.
Still be like $900,000?
Yeah, more or less. All right. Let's just leave it there. For the other news topic, we don't really need to get into it.
Cool.
This week, so let's move on because we are a little behind. So let's jump into community. Before we read off your this week's questions from our supporters on Patreon, I do want to say I'm a little bit behind on giveaways, but I have drawn the winner for the giveaway for the month of March. As a reminder, we do a monthly giveaway where we give away a game of your choice up to a $60 value. All you really have to do is kind of get involved with the show, help us retweet the podcast every week when it's posted. Leave us for everyone who leaves a comment or feedback on the podcast every week. You get entered in the drawing as well. And we pick a name at random every month, and we give you a game of your choice. And the winner of the month of March was actually a Twitter follower. I hope I'm saying this correctly. At Kane Jerton. Kane Jerton. I have reached out to this person and for retweeting the podcast, and they've won, and they are going to let me know what their game of choice is. I will let everybody know what that is probably next week.
Crypto out of 5.
Thank you very much for supporting the show, getting involved, helping us promote the show, all that good stuff. We will be reaching out to you so you can pick your game. Thank you. And I will be more prompt about picking April's winner. I'll announce that in the month of May. So probably next week. Because next week's May.
Yes.
It's gonna
Jesus
be,
Christ.
Cool, moving on. Fast. Go.
May.
No time for jingles. Community starting now. Oh my god, no new patrons. That's okay. We still love the ones we have. First question this week comes from Nexus. What's your pitch for a TV series about the current console arms race? Who should produce it? Which company executive would you cast it? And how would you guys insert a cameo for yourselves?
It would be like what's the
Console Wars?
What's the stupid show where they everyone
Game of Thrones.
The ninja. Oh, fuck you. The ninja where they make everyone do those stupid
American
obstacle courses.
Ninja?
Yeah, it'd be like
American
one of
Ninja
those.
Warrior?
But it would only be console executives. Like, you know.
Kazurai?
Yeah, like
That would be good.
older
I want to see. I want to see.
console executives.
I want to see a most extreme elimination challenge with Kazurai and Reggie Fils-Aimé and fucking like all of them. Yeah, doing that.
Yeah.
Like in Takeshi's Castle.
I basically want The Wire, but, with game companies.
There actually could be some interesting drama in there. I bet you could write some interesting drama.
Yeah, where's it like Game of Thrones, but with game companies?
Some prestigious
It's a war.
HBO
It's a
show.
console war.
It is. That is
That's
true.
true.
on.
That's true.
And there are console peasants everywhere.
But they can only fight each other with their consoles,
Right.
like as weapons.
Right. So like all the
So a lot of people getting
the
beaten to
Nintendo
death with
army is just a bunch
PlayStations.
of people with like Switch nunchucks.
Yeah.
And The Wire, instead of Wallace, instead of Michael B. Jordan, you can have Castlevania. So the infamous scene, "Where's Wallace?" String, "Where's Wallace?"
Castlevania?
Yeah, "Where's Castlevania?"
All
Where
right.
was Wallace?
Moving
Oh
on.
my god.
Dead.
Next question for Mr. Green Toast.
He was dead. They killed him. He got.
Mr. Green Toast. Would you rather have to do a short dance through every doorway or spin around 2 times every time you sit down?
Wait, say it again. Sorry.
No.
Read
Short
check.
dance is the answer.
Wait,
A short dance through every doorway?
Yes. Or spin around twice
I'm
every
trying to
time you
think
sit
of-
down.
Here's the
How is
thing.
that so
I
much
do
worse
both
than
already.
doing a short dance? How long is this dance?
I feel like I walk through
Short.
doors.
There.
I
That's
feel like
it.
I do.
Yes, it
That's
is.
not a dance. That's a jiggle at best.
I feel like I
Commence
walk
the
through
jiggle.
doors. I walk through doorways far more often than I take a seat somewhere. You know what I
What?
mean? Like if you sit down.
How many
No.
doorways
Think
do you
about it.
walk
You
through?
sit at a desk all day.
I know, but that's like you sit. Like you actually like stand up and sit like 3 or 4
What
times
about
a day.
when you get in your car?
Nick, you're supposed to stand up
You're
every
going
20
through
minutes.
a door and sitting.
You
down.
do the dance.
I don't
because
wanna-
you can make it this charming thing about you, but spinning around, you can't make spinning around twice before you
Sure.
sit down
Yeah,
look cool.
Spinning around looks like you have OCD.
What if you're holding
Doing
a
little
drink?
dance is like a thing.
Weird. It's just
just
weird.
a thing that he
It's
does.
just you look weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm a weirdo.
You just look like a happy person. Oh, I'm doing my dance. But when you spin around, you're like, what the fuck?
But imagine the day when you're like the worst mood ever, but you still have to do it.
Maybe it'd make you better.
I'm sure after a while it'll just become muscle memory.
All right, moving on. Sir Thomas Thipple. When you're home alone and
Thomas
it's the
Thipple.
dead of night, What paranoid thoughts begin to fill your head?
Oh, God.
I leave my blind slightly raised so my cat can look outside unperturbed. I always get this sneaking suspicion that someone is watching me masturbate. I never leave my blinds open. I am always fearing that someone's looking into my house.
So right now, since I've just replaced all my windows in my downstairs area, and I haven't, when I took down the valences to like put up the blinds or the windows and whatnot, it tore a piece of the wall off, so I had to refinish it, and I haven't painted it yet. So I have blinds that I need to install downstairs, but they've been sitting there for like 3 weeks. So I don't have any blinds on my downstairs windows. So at like night, I feel really, really uncomfortable because I'm like sitting there like watching TV, and I just have like 2 windows next to me that are like I can't see.
You can't see out of, but you know people can see.
There could be someone in my backyard looking through my window, and I would never know, and that's really creeping me out right now.
Like my problem with open windows at night when I'm home alone isn't that like I'm afraid someone's creeping out, you know, in the distance, spying on me, something material that could be happening. Stop it.
What the hell is that?
It's more like conditioned by movies to think that like a monster is just gonna pop up in the black window at any moment.
You've been conditioned for jump scares?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, dude, like my back door to my house has like a built-in shade that'll slide it, and Bernadette always leaves it open, and I'll walk out of the room at night and it's open, and what the fuck?
All right.
I like run over and shut it real quick.
2 things. One, so like I said the other week, Robin's moving in with me. Mm-hmm. Her thing is at night she doesn't like sleeping in a room with the door closed.
Okay.
One thing that's a safety hazard because
always close the door.
Always close the door for fire. You know, if there's a fire or whatever, that's a safety thing. 2, that creeps the fucking shit out of me.
Having a door open.
Someone
could be in the doorway.
Yeah, you wake up in the middle of the night and you just see a figure standing in your door. No, fuck that. Also, someone could.
I can imagine Nick waking up, seeing someone standing in the doorway, and just start punching Robin. Like, God damn it, you son of a bitch.
And if someone if someone just like did break into the house, they could sneak into my room and walk up to the side of the bed without ever waking me up. If they had to jiggle my door handle, I'd probably wake up. So I've already started.
I'm pretty sure this is the real reason everybody keeps their door closed. I mean, even the fire department made up the shit about, you know, it being more dangerous to have your door open.
It actually is safer. There's pictures of houses where a fire started in one room, and if you have the door, like after they put the fire out, and they opened a door to a room that was closed when the fire happened, and it's like untouched, but everything else is like charred. Yeah. So like, it can make a huge difference. That's why, you know, when you wake up and you have to go feel the doorknob for heat, like, because the fire could be raging outside the door.
I know about the fire safety.
I'm just saying.
We all saw that episode of The Office.
I'm just saying, like, I've already started this, like, I've started this effort to get her to, like, sleep with the door closed.
All right, let's move on. Next question from SMG Sterling. Videos. I typed this while watching Ed's cast of Kingdom Come Deliverance. He's in a certain situation which inspires this question.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill.
No.
All right, moving on. A mare, a sow, and a chicken.
All right.
That is exactly what that game is.
I'd fuck the mayor because the mayor's probably human.
The mayor. The mayor.
M-A-R-E, not M-A-Y.
Yeah. I'd eat
They're all animals, Brad. They're all animals.
If they're all animals, I'll eat all of them.
Eating is not an option.
Well, eating is just a type of killing.
But what about a barnyard?
Yeah, I would just kill all of them.
What about a barnyard centipede?
Oh, God.
What the fuck is that?
I don't want to know.
It's the same thing as a human centipede, but with barnyard.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
okay, that is the most...
Okay.
Can that be the name of the show?
Sure. There you go. We got the name.
Hey, Chris Davis, can you write that down?
This is a dumb question, but we read it, and that's what matters.
Clearly, the chicken would have to be in front of the
Did
mare.
you make that up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, can you just imagine like a horse with like a chicken's ass attached to its mouth? So it can't crawl, it's just hanging there.
Oh my god, this is fucked up. That is...
Laying eggs into the horse's mouth?
Barnyard centipede.
All right, moving on.
I would not want the chicken to be in the back.
Right? It's pointy, its beak.
It wouldn't really matter where the chicken goes.
Also, I don't think you could fuck his chicken. That's a bad scene. Because he would definitely, or she would definitely...
Have you ever tried to pick up a chicken?
Be upset with that scenario the most of all the barnyard animals.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I mean, I feel like they'd all...
So you wouldn't be down with that?
No. I'd go down on the chicken. But...
That was I was referring to feathers.
I'm putting my
Like,
glasses
down?
on and going to a
Phoenix
happy place.
down.
Yes.
That's the episode. I would go down on the chicken.
Oh, no. We're going with
no.
Barnyard Centipede.
All right, moving on. Soul Point asks, what irritates you the most? Poison ivy, probably.
What irritates me the most? Oh, God.
I have some poison ivy growing on my inside of my house.
That's not... Wait, I don't think that's what he's going for. I think he's like, what...
When I can hear people chewing.
Oh,
Like when they have their mouth closed and I can hear people chewing. There's certain people, for whatever reason, their skulls are shaped in such a way in which the acoustics of their mouth just kind of like reverberates through the superstructure of their whole head and you can hear it. And it's fucking
Are we talking about stupid stuff like that?
Yes.
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
like, okay, so like a real thing is like login stuff on websites.
Sure.
But if we're
Wait.
talking on more of a
Wait. I am actually really upset by those noises. They distract and disturb me. It's a real thing.
but
Don't belittle my play.
no, on a more primal level like yours, I guess. When someone's like kicking or tapping like my chair or something, I'm losing my shit. Like I will like flip out on my wife, on my son, who all he can do is kick. No, that really irritates me. For sure.
I'm
When Nolan touches my feet with his foot.
Let's see. I don't know. I think it irritates me when people stand right outside of right outside the movie theater after like a movie ends and like
What? I used to do that all the time.
I
But I
thought
mean,
he
like,
was
we
going to
do
say
that
outside
all
the
the
no,
time.
like
bedroom.
we step outside in front of like the
A few
building or
feet
whatever.
away, I guess, yeah.
Like I like when I went to see Spider-Man: Homecoming, like I was waiting in line to go into our screening and someone was walking out of the theater and like before they're even around the corner walking out of the thing and
they
just
start talking about.
they just start talking about
that
like the
does suck.
post-credit scene. I was like,
Dicks.
son of a
remember-
bitch.
Here's a little thing I remembered, and I think it's misunderstood politeness. I don't know the best way to word it. Like when it happens a lot at work. When I'm trying to enter an elevator or enter a restroom and someone's leaving, and we kind of meet in the middle, and they're like, "Oh no, you first," and I'm like, "Dude, you're in the room I need to get into. Like you move, you get out." So I can go, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to get on the elevator, sometimes they're like, oh, no, you come on first. And I'm like, but you're getting off. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
You're right. That is not. I hate that. That happens way more often
Who
than you
does
think
that?
too.
That's not common.
Dude,
So many fucking
it happens
people at
to
my
me.
office.
It happens to me like 2 or 3 times a week.
So many people. For
Your
me, it's like
problem
once
is
a
that
day.
people
They
are
should all be
polite.
fired.
But that's not being polite. That's actually inconveniencing everyone.
Here's something that irritates me. This has nothing to do with people. It's not people's fault. But my office, we don't have like our own restroom. We have to walk out of our office because we're in like a office building or whatever.
sure.
So you come out of our office and walk down a long hallway to get to the restroom, right? And it's just like super long hallway. There's no windows. There's like one door between my office door and the end of the hallway where it turns and there's the restroom. And every time I walk out the door, I swear to God, I turn around and start walking down this long hallway and I see someone come around the other end. And all you can do is walk straight towards this person, right?
Oh,
and that
that's-
like you don't know where to look, you don't know where to put your hands,
Yeah.
you don't know if you're gonna acknowledge their existence, you don't know whether to do it.
You gotta wait till
now
they
or
get
wait till you're
right
right
up to
there.
them, yeah.
Like
Oh
it's
my
the
God.
fucking worst.
I eat chumps like you every fucking day for breakfast walking down the halls. I love making eye contact with people, making them blink. People hate that.
I don't mind making eye contact with them, but like I like to do it like when we're getting close and like you're about to be like pat like
It depends on how well
I
they know
see
the
you.
person.
Yeah,
like-
you have to pretend you don't see them until they're 3 feet
Yes,
away from you, and
yes.
then you're like, "Oh, hello, fellow human being. Salutations."
For me,
Yeah, that'd
it's
be
fuck
awkward.
that.
You're gonna fucking die when the bomb comes.
what?
That is weakness, Nick. That is weakness.
For me, if it's like a coworker or someone I'm really familiar with, I'm fine. If I see, I'll like wave at him and stuff. But if it's someone I've talked to twice and we make eye contact, I'm like,
Every
but then
time
you're just gonna get closer, and then I say hi. So yeah, normally I will like look at my phone or look at my watch or kind of like.
Yeah,
Dude,
I've,
phone,
a couple
man.
of
The worst
times
is when
I've
you-
waved at someone who's not there.
the worst is like when I'm like, oh, easy, I'll just pull up my phone and look at my phone, right?
Yeah.
And then I realize I left the phone in the room.
Oh,
Fuck.
no.
And the other one is like every time if it happens to be someone I actually do work with that I speak to and I know, like they come around the corner and we're like 30, 40 feet apart walking and I'm just like, I hate this hallway. I hate it. And they're like, yeah, it sucks. And we just keep saying that until we like pass
Until
each
you
other.
slap
Because it's just
balls.
so fucking awkward.
All right, moving on. We have a lot more
so
questions we need to
painful
get.
to
into.
be
It's
What?
so painful.
We have like 5 more questions. Let's
Let's go.
Come on, snap.
Let's go.
Luke asks, "I'm a big Star Wars game. I'm big on Star Wars games, but have recently tried to get more into the comics and novels. One novel that caught my interest is Death Troopers, which is horror and has the concept of zombies in it. Would you be down for a zombie-based Star Wars game where it
I
plays
wouldn't.
out like a survival horror?
Oh my god.
That novel sucks.
Crispy is like gagging over here.
novel-
Crispy is
bad.
not a fan.
That novel sucks.
I'm not really
That's
into
alright.
those experimental parts of the.
You know what?
I'd rather first get a good Star Wars game.
I'm being mean, but here's like I genuinely believe that the Star Wars universe is broad enough to hold all sorts of kinds of stories spanning several different genres. I just like
Sports game.
zombies. Like you're just why like you're taking dude. Sports
Okay,
games.
don't
You know,
answer that.
I do think it would be cool to see like a survival horror based in the Star Wars universe, but zombies? Does it have to be zombies? Why can't it just be something more
Like a crazed Wookiee.
Like Ewoks.
Like it just
No, but I
feels
mean like there are
a rabid Wookiee
it
out in the
feels like
forest.
like the absolute lowest common denominator.
Yes.
you know, like
there
it's just.
I would love to see someone take a stab at doing a horror game set in the Star Wars universe.
I'm sorry, I came on a little
With the
strong.
crazed
You
Wookiee.
really
Yes, Brad, a crazed
who asked
Wookiee.
the question?
Rabid Wookiee.
Luke.
Luke, I'm sorry.
That's-
You
Luke
obviously
asked
It's
really
that first and
Luke D.
last question.
you really enjoyed
Thanks
the
to
novel,
Crispy.
and that's great. It just wasn't my cup of tea. It's
But you did read that book?
well, it's been a while, but yeah.
hey,
I used to read like my
Dying-
whole senior
Dying
year of high
Light
school
with
was just reading
lightsabers.
Star Wars.
Yeah, that was mine too, but like I stopped before they started doing I think some of these
expanded.
basically
universe.
anything after the new like the episode 1, 2, and 3 started coming out, I stopped reading the books.
All right, let's move on. Next question from Wingless. What defines a spoiler? For the last week, I've seen a lot of people angry and irritated at content creators for spoilers for saying that God of War isn't an easy game. This seems a little bit too ridiculous to me. Where should the line be drawn? Thematic elements, screenshots, and footage outside what has been published by the developer? Or should anybody who completes a game be sworn to secrecy only and only discuss amazing experiences in the shadows?
I think
Man.
you should always be careful to tiptoe around, especially if it's story.
I
Don't
think.
blatantly just spoil
for
the
me,
story.
my the way I think of a spoiler is before I say it, I think about it in my head, and then I remember what I thought and what I felt when I experienced it. And if me and Nick were talking about a specific scene in the game in God of War earlier, and we both got excited about that scene. Brad hasn't gotten there yet. I'm not going to say what that scene is because I want Brad to experience for himself. Brad's kind of a sourpuss and a boo-boo-boo.
boo-boo-boo.
Yeah, so he might not be as excited as me and Nick were, but I still want to give him the opportunity to experience it unspoiled.
as long as
Yeah,
it's dope and not like the
don't-
predictable thing. I feel like there's
No, it's not that thing that you've predicted 1,000 times.
I think this
Okay.
is a
what
fantastic
I'm talking
question.
The blades?
yeah.
No, it's not
Okay.
that.
I think this is a fantastic question, and I think it's something that I've just been really struggling with for a few years now, and it's because everyone thinks that everything's a spoiler.
That's not the case.
That is absolutely the case. Like, spoiler culture is fucking out of control. Like, it is insane. We can't talk about stuff because benign facts of like what this character was wearing in this scene or that this character showed, like stuff that doesn't really affect plot in any way, is considered a spoiler. People just don't want to know. People think that the absolute purest experience of any piece of media they consume is to go and completely ignorant to it. And I don't think that that's true. I don't think all pieces of media deserve the same consideration in that respect. I don't think I don't know. I'm like really fucking sick of spoilers.
I think
Obviously I don't want to know certain like something like Infinity War comes out. Like every review I've read so far has said like there are huge surprises in this movie that you want to go in fresh. I believe that. I believe that there are certain situations in which that is absolutely true. But I think we've taken that level of like immediacy and that level of urgency on like specific surprises, and we spread it out across every single detail of games and movies and TV shows that we consume. And I really think that like people are afraid of something that they don't understand.
But here's okay. So here's the thing. I agree with you. I think it's up to each individual how much they would like to leave spoiled. But I think I think it's the problem I have is when people get upset at other people for not having the same. If someone doesn't wants to go in completely pure, that's fine. But like being upset with someone or mad at someone for not feeling that way, and then saying something maybe that you consider spoiler, like when you start. You got to realize the company you're with and like the context of conversations. Like you can't, if someone else knows something that you don't, and it's not really that you consider a spoiler, but they don't, like, you can't really get mad at someone for that unless you're just blatantly spoiling plot points on something.
I think the problem with the whole like worrying about spoiler thing is that it's born from a mentality that novelty is the only valuable aspect of the media that you're consuming. Like the fact that like they have this idea that I've never thought of before, or they showed me something I've never seen before. That's the only thing of value that thing can give me, not in like the execution. Like you can go into a movie like the Titanic, or like Titanic, right? You know how the fucking thing's gonna end. You know what it's about, but it's not about that. It's about the execution of the story. It's about how you get from point A to point B. That stuff's really important. And I think when we worry too much about spoilers, we're ignoring that other stuff. And I think people's like actual their sort of literacy of storytelling suffers because they're so worried about spoilers. It's I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon.
Spoilers are okay when you're actually saying / writing something interesting. Something that
again,
uses,
not everything is considered the same. Like
yeah. All right, we still got several more questions. Let's move on. Good answers though. Good question. Matt F asks, do you guys have any specific uncommon fears that come about in your daily lives? For example, whenever I hurry up or downstairs, I'm always conscious about the relative positions of the railings and my mouth, since I'm always a little afraid I'll trip and smash my teeth in. Do you have any specific fears like that?
God,
Brad's just like,
well, now Brad does.
That's a horrifying thing to think about.
No, that's actually something similar for me. Like my teeth. I knew a kid in high school that I worked with for a while who tripped and he bit like his tongue, not off, but like kind of
enough.
Yeah, it's like messed up for the rest of his life. And yeah, that's a fear for me. I consciously will think if I'm doing something where I'm moving a lot, I'll make sure I like pull my tongue kind of back and like close my teeth.
This is not the exact same thing, but like we live in a day and age where like you have access to so much information. So like there's like you go to any news website, doesn't matter what it is, and you can find something horrifying.
Sure.
To the point where like I think to myself, I'm like, oh God, that's awful. And then I was like, oh God, what if that happened to me?
Oh yeah.
And it's just like
what if you got sucked out an airplane window?
Yeah, or like someone like I don't know, like was texting and driving and like drove underneath like an 18-wheeler and like decapitated themselves or something, and you just think about your like,
yeah,
that's fucked up, and then you think about it, oh God, that could be me.
Well, here's the thing,
like
Nick,
it's irrational. It's like as long as I'm just paying attention, everything's cool.
The shit like that happens every fucking day.
I know, but
and
like,
it's been happening for hundreds of years.
I liked it so much better when I didn't know about it.
But the thing is news and stuff and social media and the internet has made that information just more public.
Smelly Jelly says he saw a guy get sucked into a sewer drain. What the fuck?
Here's the thing, Nick. Just don't look at the news.
I know. I know. I just sometimes I get bored at work and I just...
What was irrational fears? Is this what the question was about?
Kind of, not necessarily irrational. I have specific uncommon fears.
I have a closet in my house that has under the stairs little room. Right,
mm-hmm.
There's a little tiny door in it, and every time I come home, I'm worried that like, what if somebody's hiding in there?
Yeah. You're talking about scary shit. I gotta go home.
So what I do is I put the vacuum cleaner directly in front of the door, because if someone put themselves in there, they wouldn't be able to put the vacuum cleaner back. So I know that it's cool.
You say that until the moment when that vacuum cleaner's not there,
and then I get the fuck out of that house. That's what I do.
No, but like
and I find out Robin just left it out.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But now you set this up in your head that the only way that vacuum cannot be there is if there's a murderer in there.
Well, no,
I mean, goblin.
Right now I'm living by myself. So if I'm living by myself and I come home and the vacuum cleaner is ajar, I know something's up.
Still, you've created a scary scenario for yourself where you're always looking at that vacuum cleaner and you've made it worse.
Yeah, dude, the same thing with like, I literally, once a week, I wake up in the middle of the night and I look over and imagine someone standing in my doorway.
Jesus! But your door's closed!
I know!
So for me, it's often a scenario. My house is kind of big. There's a lot of rooms in it.
Please don't say something scary.
And no, for me, it's just more of like, I'll be in here playing a game and I'll hear a noise. And I won't be comfortable in my own self unless I go into every single room.
So it's not just me. Sure. That happens to Nolan too.
All the fucking time.
Jeez,
like if I hear
you are creating things for me to be scared about.
I just need to make sure there's no one in my house.
I swear to God, sometimes I come home and I check behind shower curtains. I open the shower curtain.
But listen. I got over all of that with dogs.
I guess I do have a dog now. Which
I don't
but
have
the
a
thing
dog.
is, sometimes he'll react like he heard something, and then I'm like, well, fuck.
Well, you know what's funny is we were doing this podcast and my wife texted me. She's like, "I'm in bed. The dogs are freaking out downstairs. I don't know why they're freaking out because they're in the utility room with the door closed."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "I guess I got to go check." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you got to go check."
Yeah, I guess you have to check.
Just wait. I'll be home in a while. Just go downstairs.
But that's the thing. If someone broken my fucking asshole dogs, someone will close the door down the street, a car door down the street, and they'll lose their shit. You know, so if anything's happening in my house, they would be like going ape shit. So that's kind of an alarm for me. But
Yeah.
But
Now I'm nervous, guy. I do it. I have to go home. Oh God.
yo, hey, here's the thing. How about stop saying scary stuff? You know,
All
the
right.
question didn't say
Deal.
it. How you had to say something scary.
Deal. Next question.
All right, Shadow Step. What are your guys' thoughts on the new Splinter Cell game, if announced,
We did.
that have rumors on the stealth mechanics a lot more than the older games like Pandora Tomorrow? We kinda
I
talked
want
about that a bit
I
earlier,
want a
man.
new Splinter Cell game. I'm not convinced it's going to happen. But I
I'm-
definitely want it. I'm pretty much after Blacklist. I'm kind of open to whatever they want to try with it.
I don't care.
I'm pretty ambivalent.
Same. Moving on, Saifu. With the Infinity War hype train kicking into high gear this week, what are your hopes and dreams for the Crystal Dynamics Avengers project?
I keep forgetting it exists.
Do you guys
not
think they will
real.
show anything significant at E3 this year?
I think that'll probably be at E3.
E3 probably, yeah.
Especially because they have Tomb Raider coming up. They're gonna launch that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's a big team. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a big part of their team working.
There's
on
only
the
one
Avengers.
way I would be interested in. Crispy, I have a question for you.
Hmm.
Is there any Marvel Universe character named Raziel or Kane?
Why are you asking about Soul Reaver?
Because that's a series that Crystal
Like
Dynamics traditionally
Kane
worked on.
as an eponymous, like singular name, Kane. I don't. I can't think of one.
Because the only way I'll be
I
interested
mean, there are
in
people with like the
a Crystal Dynamics
surname
developed
Kane.
Avengers game is if it's actually a Legacy of Kane.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Raziel?
All right,
You know
let's
what?
move on.
I am not totally convinced that they can make a Avengers game that's like particularly interesting. So I don't know. We'll see. What
Yeah,
happens.
I don't have high hopes.
I wanna
don't
know-
get me wrong. I would like it to be good, but I really don't know what to expect.
Every
as
time
of
someone
yet.
says the Avengers game,
Yeah.
I think about it. I just can't help but think it's going to be something like what's that Marvel game where it's like multiplayer.
Heroes.
Ultimate Alliance?
Ultimate
Yeah,
Alliance.
Ultimate
I was like,
Alliance.
is it going to be multiple Ultimate Alliance? Because that does not sound interesting to me at all.
It would probably. Well, they have Marvel Heroes, which is like a thing now they've been
I
doing
don't-
for years.
No,
I'm
they-
worried it's
they
going to be
shut that down, I
multiplayer
thought.
focused, and I would love to see that. I would love like a
Well, what I'm
Avengers
saying is,
game
like,
if it's like something like the new Spider-Man or Batman, like
what
that
I'm
kind
saying is the thing you're describing exists and has been around for a while and makes money for them. So I don't think that's what this is.
They shut down that studio, actually. I think it's not doing so good.
I'm just saying.
But the game's still going.
I want to know what the hell this Avengers game is. I want it to be a single player, story focused, like big budget superhero game, a la Batman Arkham or the new Spider-Man game, like that kind of treatment for the Avengers. I don't know how that would work, but I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't. I don't know. I can't explain why, but that doesn't sit right with me.
All right, let's move on to the final question then for the night from Sunny. The new God of War is dope as fuck, and I'm loving the story. With that said, what do you guys think about doing a spoiler cast for God of War?
I would love to.
I would like to as well.
Are there spoilers in that game?
No, none at all.
I think there will be. Yes.
Kratos, when he meets the lady, there's a bomb in her vagina that explodes.
Oh shit!
I'm actually not
Love it,
super
Crispy.
high on spoiler cast. So.
Well, I would love to record one
I
We'll
would
see.
enjoy recording a 30-minute, a quick, just overview
down and dirty
of the game.
spoiler cast.
I'm
I'm actually really interested because I know Kind of Funny just did a spoiler cast with Corey Barlog. I'm actually really interested in listening to that, but I'm not going to do it until I finish the game. So, yeah. Anyways, we'll see. The spoiler casts are kind of weird because it kind of just depends on how many of us finish it and when and what proximity to each other we finish it. Because you know, that's why the Nier spoiler cast never happens because we literally finished that game like 4 months apart each.
if not more. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for your questions.
We post a third on Patreon every week, or any patron who donates. Is that the word we use?
Yep. Pledges.
Pledges. Thank you.
$1 or more.
$1 or more a month will be able to ask us any question they'd like.
I think
pretty
I think
big
there's a few
range of
mugs I need to
questions.
send out for $15 patrons too. If you pledge $15, you get a cool 4-player mug.
Yep.
I think I'm a few behind. I need to send those out, but yeah. Just FYI.
Appreciate it, guys.
Patreon.com/4players where you can find that. All right, let's wrap this show up. 4-player minute. Hype, sweat. Thank you. Fuck you the week, Brad.
I'll go. My hype is for Pillars of Eternity 2. That comes out in a couple of weeks, and they recently announced, I think about a week ago, that they're having it's fully voice acted this time around. And the last game was definitely not. It had some voice acting, but most of it was not voice acted. It's nice to see. I feel like it's because of Divinity. You know, their full voice acting that now Pillars is doing it. So it's like kind of this, it's awesome games making their competition better, which is a nice thing. So I'm really excited about that. My thank you for this week, I guess, goes to Carlos, who agreed to a deal of I buy BattleTech if he buys Frostpunk, which I have not been able to try out Frostpunk because I've been playing BattleTech. But since we're Steam friends, I'm gonna probably try out some of that before the podcast next week. It looks really cool. My fuck you for this, or my sweat, goes to Nintendo, just because I was kind of holding my Switch the other day. And I occasionally open up that store and going like, what's out? What do I play? What do I get?
I thought Dead
and I
Cells
realized
was out.
it's all ports and indie games. And I thought about like, what has Nintendo put out this year? It is May now, pretty much. And
Their next big
I
one.
couldn't think of anything. And someone told me,
Kirby.
well, there was that Kirby game, which looked kind of lame.
I heard it's not lame.
That's somewhat
it's
like
easy.
worrisome, right? Because it's almost halfway through the year.
Why don't you play the Kirby game, dude? You're the only one who
I
ever
played
plays
the demo.
Kirby.
It's like a 4-player thing. It's not. And if you're by yourself, there's 3 AI with you. It just seemed lame, dude.
All right, I'm just saying you've played so many damn.
I know. I tried it. It seemed lame. And what's coming out from them?
The next big one is going to be Octopath Traveler in July.
But that's not even Nintendo. That's Square Enix.
So you're nitpicking about actual just Nintendo.
I'm worried about Nintendo's first-party output. This was supposed to be the one console, and it's almost half a year,
Dude,
and they haven't put out shit.
I think it's unfair. I mean, you got to realize, dude, they put out a Mario game and a Zelda game.
a Mario game that they developed for the Wii U for over years and years. I'm
point
just
is,
saying,
they
announced new games for the 3DS, and now we're coming up on May without like new Switch shit from Nintendo. That's weird.
E3 is going to happen. There'll be stuff at E3. The thing is, dude, Nintendo libraries are always the slowest to grow, dude. Always.
Yeah, that is true.
Always. And I guarantee you by the end of this year, there's going to be some big fucking Smash Bros. Will be out this fucking year.
By the end of the year, hopefully. Hopefully that Smash Brothers is not a port with new characters.
I don't
either.
think it is.
My fuck you, I'm going to give it to Square Enix. Just because, I've been reading about this whole Final Fantasy VII remake business, and I just realized that Square Enix just kind of sucks these days, right? For years and years, they just kind of suck. They suck at making games. They suck at putting out in like proper, reasonable development periods. And they have all this old cool IP that they don't do anything with anymore. And Final Fantasy is kind of not cool anymore. I don't like Square Enix at all. I realized, and they used to be my favorite developer back when they were SquareSoft, and I kind of fucking hate them now. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Fuck you, Square Enix. There is no chance that Final Fantasy VII game is going to be this amazing thing. There's no chance.
I had somebody this weekend ask me if they should buy a PS4 for that Final Fantasy VII remake, and I had to be like, dude, first of all,
Buy
pump
a
the brakes.
PS5.
First of all, pump the brakes. That game will not be out for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Easy. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. He thought it was coming out for the end of the year. I was like, no, not happening. Anyways, Nolan?
My 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for Avengers. Obviously pretty excited for it. We're going on Saturday. I'm pumped and ready. Like I said earlier, I've watched literally 18 Marvel films in the past 4 months leading up to this. I'm pretty excited for it. My hype is going to go to Detroit Become Human. I really did enjoy that demo that they finally put out. It is the same demo that I played at E3 last year, but I still kind of enjoyed getting my hands on that kind of world, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's also a pretty game. I didn't realize
it is
how pretty
beautiful.
it is.
The fact that when Nick first started casting it, I was like, Nick, this isn't a cutscene you're playing right now.
Like the elevator doors open, and I just didn't move, and he's like, Nick, it's not a cutscene. I was like, oh shit! And
My other hype is going to go to my cast tomorrow. I had an idea, like the stream currently says one thing, but I think I'm gonna do something else. And you're just gonna have to tune in
What
live.
does it say you were gonna do?
It says God of War,
Oh.
but I think something else is gonna happen.
I'm always supportive of weird, crazy shit. It's why
It's gonna be
It's why we
different.
let Carlos have a stream.
It's
key.
gonna be different. So yeah, tune into that tomorrow. And my
NSFW?
no, it'll definitely be safe for work. And then my thank you is gonna. I brought it up in my cast the other day, but Bernadette signed us up for this thing. I forget the official name for it.
Quidditch. It's called.
No, it's like gifts for. I don't know. It's essentially a program where you buy and kind of support everything that it's involved with a birthday party for kids in foster care or in like orphanages, kids that don't have like birthdays or
So
whatever.
you're funding birthday parties.
Yeah, so you buy all like the plates and cupcake mix and stuff like this and whatever.
Bro, you have a little kid on the next podcast?
No, they're not going to be here. But Bernadette signed us up for this one. There's this girl who wants a husky themed birthday party, and Bernadette found out about it from a husky forum she's on.
Oh my god.
I saw his lip kind of like, yeah.
Butters is a husky.
That's
what
I
Nick's
mentioned
pointing
it the other day, and a couple of people bought some stuff. We had an Amazon wish list with a bunch of stuff on it.
Wait, are you taking the dog to?
No, we're not.
okay.
We're just essentially buying stuff, and then we're giving it to them. We're not
Giving
even
them
gonna
butters.
We're not even gonna see this person, but we're providing a bunch of stuff for their birthday party because they don't have any way to fund it themselves
Just
because
so-
they're a
Send him
child.
a
Just for
picture
those
of
people who
Butters.
can't see this, Butters is sleeping on the floor, and I don't know if this is snoring, but he's breathing, and his like lip is like flapping every time
Yeah.
he breathes out. That's pretty fun.
But yeah, thank you to those people. We appreciate it. If you have some more questions, reach out to me. Essentially, we just have a big list of things we need to buy. If anyone wants to help us buy them, they can. If not, we'll just buy the rest and we'll support this kid. Bernadette like randomly sprung it on me the other day. She was like, "By the way, I signed this up for this," and I was like, "Wait, what?" But yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, Crispy.
All right. As you might remember, my 4-player minute is being sponsored by Carlos.
Oh,
so
yeah, I
he's
forgot
got
about
something
this.
that I have to read. My hype this week is for Venom. I'm literally counting down the days to October 5th to catch Tom Hardy on the big screen doing justice to one of Marvel's most intriguing anti-heroes.
Oh my fucking god!
And
I didn't
my-
realize you're just letting Carlos do your top fives now.
And
Or
my
your
fuck
four-player
you
minutes.
for the week goes to Carlos for making me read that. My real hype this week is obviously for Infinity War. I can't really think about anything else at the moment.
I like how you literally just plugged the release date of Venom, just like you realize, like literally a promotion for the movie.
Hey, I'm getting paid too. So, and my video game related hype for this week is I'm closing in on the end of Yakuza 0.
Nice.
But I'm also really starting to get into some of the side activities. So it's really
By the way,
blossomed.
when you beat all of the cabaret, you get a special fourth fighting style for
Oh yeah.
Wait, really?
Mhm.
For
for
Majima?
Majima.
Yeah, same with the property and
Oh, I haven't done
interior.
anything with property.
Dude,
Well,
the property. So I like the property.
It's cool, but it's not.
Right.
It's not.
It's
as
not as
engaging.
The
not as
Cabaret
involved
Club
as
is
the
really
Cabaret
fun.
Club.
Wow. I finally learned what all the hand signs mean.
Oh,
so I'm
nice.
like, oh,
Yeah.
new ashtray. Here you go.
The ashtray and the menu,
Yeah, the
and
guest glass,
the towel.
and
Yeah.
towel. Yeah. Well, yeah. Cool. That's me.
Good luck pleasing.
Oh,
the
that was
wealthy.
it. That was your 4-player minute.
Yeah, that was 4.
Oh, cool. All right. My hype this week goes to actually God of War. I'm just super into this game, and I'm very much looking forward to diving back into it. I'm really curious to see where they're going. I'm starting to get more of the meatier bits of the story, or like of the mystery they're kind of unraveling slowly. So I'm really interested to see where that's going to go, and I'm just having like a great time exploring the world and finding dragons and going to different realms and all this cool stuff. Very much looking forward to that. My sweat goes to Detroit. I really hope that game is good. Like I said earlier, I don't have the greatest confidence in Quantic Dream, but I'm hoping.
Speaking of Quantum Dream, Beyond Two Souls is PlayStation. Plus
Oh
next
yeah, I
month.
forgot about that.
We all forgot
I don't
about
even
that
know
one.
if that's it being free is enough to make me actually want to
It
play
has
that.
the cool
Nope.
party scene where you
Oh
can
my
go all
God.
carry. But,
Yep.
yeah.
Maybe maybe I'll download it and maybe play it later. Who knows? But yeah, Detroit looks great. I'm just, until it's, I want them to have one solid game that's like well made and with a well told story. And this has a lot of potential for a well told story.
Wait.
But
What's the subtitle for Detroit?
Become Human.
Oh, that's so stupid.
It should have just been called Detroit, right?
Well, sure, but there's a movie called Detroit. No, the Become Human subtitle seems really dumb. But
They have traditionally have not had the greatest
Beyond
subtitles.
Two Souls.
What
Heavy Rain's a cool name, although it reminds me of Chubby Rain
is that?
from Bowfinger. Is that what that's from? Chubby Rain.
Anyways,
Whatever.
Another sweat I have is God of War related. It's kind of twofold. One, I'm enjoying it enough that I'm like, I don't really want it to end, and I'm getting to that point where like I'm worried that by the time I do get towards the end, it's not gonna. I'm worried this game is gonna do a lot of cool stuff to set up a really intriguing like trilogy, but on the other hand, I'm like worried this is not. I don't want to get to the end and have this feel like an incomplete experience. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like, oh, that felt like a really solid prologue for what is going to be a fascinating story that I'll have to wait 2 or 3 more years for to get another follow up to. So
I feel you.
A little worried about that. And I'll do another hype. I am also hyped for Infinity War on Saturday. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, I like Marvel movies a lot. I don't typically like get super over the moon excited about them like I do some other movied
The whole planet does those.
But I mean, they're great movies and I love watching them. But at the same time, like it's just, I tend to keep my excitement in check. But at the same time, like I'm fascinated to see how they made a movie of this scope with this many characters and pull it off.
You're
I
gonna be
mean, they're
disappointed
good
because
at
you
this
haven't
shit,
seen
though.
any trailers
Yeah.
to temper your
Yeah,
expectations.
I mean, what are you worried about? Look at Civil War.
No, I'm actually. That's another. I'm
They're
also
good at
very
this
excited
shit.
to watch it blind. I don't
yeah.
intend to do this.
Well,
That'd be kind of interesting.
I think you do need to see what's going
No.
on.
You
Sorry.
have seen what Thanos looks like, right?
I've seen.
You've seen promo material and stuff.
Don't worry, Nick. I'll describe
talking about
everything in
dude,
detail
just-
in your ear.
Just talking about
One review I read said that this might actually be one of Josh Brolin's best performances.
I don't
Period.
What
fucking
about
believe
Goonies?
that at
Period.
all.
What
Dude,
about Goonies?
No
Dude.
way.
talking about spoilers and just like like we said, I kind of have to say this because I'm with Robin, but like I think spoilers is subjective. Some people consider some things spoilers that I wouldn't consider spoilers. She doesn't even want to know who's playing Thanos. She has no idea.
Yeah, I mean, Robin's crazy. We know that.
She's a crazy lady.
So, but
Best performance. Jesus
I don't know.
Christ.
I'm fucking excited to see this
Why
movie.
is that so flabbergasting to you?
Sounds
Dude, the
like
fact
you need to watch.
I
more
was
Josh
first of
Brolin
all,
movies.
I've heard things like saying this might be one of the better villains
Sure.
in
In the Marvel
MCU, and I'm
universe,
like,
yeah.
first of all, one thing I was not expecting was for the villain in this movie to be like
Good.
deep
Dude,
in any
man.
significant way. You know what I mean?
It's like I don't know. Everything I'm hearing says that like the movie is about him.
That's great.
Like he's the one driving.
Have you
all
seen
the
Inherent
action.
Vice?
Dude,
Hell
I
Caesar?
fucking love Inherent Vice. Don't talk to me
Hell
about that
Caesar's
movie. I
good.
was gonna ask you about
Whoa.
that actually. Yeah, he's
Hell
fucking
Caesar?
fantastic in that movie.
Hell Caesar's
Okay,
so good.
so come on, Thanos, come on.
Dude,
Well, we'll give
Dude.
our impressions of Josh Brolin's Brolin
Moto
Brolin.
Pancake.
Brulin.
Is anyone going to read that?
What?
That.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, Brad
Oh
volunteered to
yes,
read
I
this.
volunteered to read Chris Davis's because he probably thought he was going to read
His
this
4-player
tonight.
minute.
His 4-player minute. His hype is for Overload, releasing at the end of May, spiritual successor to Descent. I'm excited for that as well. Crispy, you have that on Steam. I don't have access to your games anymore for some reason, probably since I built my computer or whatever. I want to play this game, so we need to figure out that.
So
Chris-
we need to talk.
Chris Davis has 4 hypes because he
because I have access to your games.
cops out. You do have access to my games, right?
I do.
I got a lot of cool games.
Keep
I
going.
play a lot of them.
Hype is second hype is Eastward. It's the next new game from Chucklefish. Basically, The Last of Us meets classic 2D Zelda. I don't
come even know what that means, but
yeah, whatever. It has zombies, so The Last.
wait, there are Zambies?
I don't know. But whatever. Eastward, Chucklefish. Are they actually developing? Are they?
Yeah, that was my
publishing
question.
it?
Chucklefish is a publisher.
Yeah.
Are they developing this?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Can
actually
they even develop?
His third hype is for Pizza Hut. Oh wait, what does that say?
Pizza type. Do you need glasses?
Pizza Titan Ultra broadcast. What is Pizza Titan
Wait, was
Ultra?
this the one about the giant robot that was a pizza pizza shop that you deliver pizzas in this giant robot?
Pizza Titan Ultra? What is this? This sounds
I remember you
interesting.
talking about this. It sounded fun.
Cool. And his fourth and final hype is for E3, thinking about making a triple threat top 5. You know what? I'm not even thinking about it anymore.
What is a
I'm going to
triple
do
threat?
it for sure. If I don't do it, don't just fire me, Nick, and everybody else. That's what he wrote.
Oh, I see. I see. What is a triple threat top 5?
He's going to do 3 of them.
Oh, gotcha. Makes sense.
Eastward is being developed by Pixpill.
And
Published by Chucklefish.
Chucklefish.
All right, thanks, Chris Davis.
Thank you, Chris Davis. All right, thank you.
Also,
That's our
Tom
show.
Clancy.
That's our. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't fucking help himself. Thank you guys so
fucking
much
me
for
up.
watching / listening. Of course, we do record these podcasts every single Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on 4pp.tv. Join us then. We'll be back next week. You can find us at 4playernetwork.com. You can find all of our podcast episodes. Discord, discord.gg/4player is the best place to be if you want to be a part of our community and kind of keep in touch with everybody and talk to us about video games in between the show each week. And of course, we broadcast games every single night. Someone's live every day. 4pp.tv is where you can find all of that and more. All right, guys, that's it. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about fucking
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
We will talk about
We should.
that.
We better do a popcorn cast for Infinity War.
We're gonna do it during the movie.
Oh, okay. That's not a good thing. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week. Peace out.
Bye.